Absolute banger. Holy moly. What's up, y'all? What's up, Cryptic? Jen Wink. Island Lad. It's good to see y'all. Been a minute, couple weeks since last stream, I think. But we got a big one today, okay? We got Pixie's reply to Destiny's motion for summary judgment. His case. Oh my god. Can you believe it, guys? Shit's crazy. I've only read the first paragraph so far of the introduction. This shit is going to be funny as fuck. Okay. We'll see what they have to say, but it's not looking good so far. I'm gonna be real with you. But, you know, what do you expect? Rogeezy, what's up? This case has been so slow lately. I mean, yeah, it's kind of winding down until the actual trial. I mean, because discovery ended, so they're not really like filing that much shit anymore because they ran out of time to actually do anything. So, you know, they're just the last thing was the motion for summary judgment. Here's the response. We'll see what happens. Should we just get right into it, or I don't know. Last thing that happened was they filed something under seal, and they changed a date of something. That's pretty much it. Okay, yo, what's up, MVT? Good to see ya. Get into it. All right, let's get right into the news, as they say. Okay. Zoom in a bit. Okay. Let me check something actually real quick. Might have HDR on it. Sometimes it fucks up the stream. No, it's off. Okay. All right. Plaintiffs, Rule 56D, motion to deny or defer a motion for summary judgment. Pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 56D, Plaintiff Jane Doe moves this court for an order denying or deferring the time to respond to the motion for summary judgment filed by this defendant, and respectfully states as follows. Introduction. Okay, politics test. Were you testing if you could chat in my chat? You can, in fact, chat. Oh, you got something deleted. I wonder how B-Dog feels after each of these yay money and memes, or OMG have to respond to this dumb shit again. Did you say shit, or what did you say? Wait, oh, you got two things deleted. Wait, okay, the first time you said, I wonder how Butler feels after each of these yay money and memes, or OMG have to respond to this stupidity again. Yeah, I'm ordered for bullying. Why? Stupidity? And you said B-Dog in case it was Bretler that got censored and said shit? What did you say? Okay, that's strange. I'm pretty sure you can say shit. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit bizarre. Maybe you can't say dumb shit together? Huh. Strange. What's up, imaginary fanboy? How you doing? Shrimple ass. Very, very true. Okay, let's get into it. Introduction. Material discovery remains outstanding in this matter, including critically the deposition of defendant. Okay, already starting off, first sentence. Not looking great. Okay, material discovery remains outstanding because they didn't get any discovery. They weren't asking for anything. Also, critically, the deposition of defendant. That's y'all's fault because Pixie didn't show up for her fucking deposition. And then Destiny's side did what you're supposed to do, which is they filed a motion for protective order to stay the deposition, and they got it because Pixie fucked up and didn't show up to her fucking deposition. So that's on you guys. Since filing this action, plaintiff has acted diligently in prosecuting her claims, and the inability to complete discovery is through no fault of plaintiff. This is just not true. Defendant's deposition testimony is necessary to rebut defendant's assertion that he did not disclose the video to IBMC, and his disclosure to Rose did not render the video continuously accessible. Okay. So defendant's deposition testimony is necessary to rebut it. Presumably, Destiny would just say, no, it isn't, and that he did not disclose the video to IBMC, as he said repeatedly. And also he has shown evidence that he didn't do it. And that his disclosure to the roads did not render the video continuously accessible. Why would Destiny's deposition prove that? What would his testimony be able to help you get to these things? But okay. In addition, defendant's document production is deficient and reflects indicia of alteration and improper preservation, necessitating further discovery efforts, including a motion to compel and potential spoliation relief. Okay, if you want spoliation relief, they could file a motion for spoliation, but they never did that. And also, motion to compel, they never filed a motion to compel, so I don't know what I don't know what they're on about exactly. Like, if you're saying that you needed a motion to compel and spoliation relief, you could have filed a motion to compel or a motion for spoliation relief. They never did that, even though in prior orders, the judges repeatedly said, you keep saying that they're engaging in spoliation of evidence, but you haven't filed for spoliation relief. The judge himself has written that in orders several times. Plaintiffs have been unable to pursue such relief to date due to defendants' lack of cooperation and conduct that has impeded plaintiffs' discovery efforts. Well, it's fucking February now, right? And discovery ended in December. You couldn't file a motion to compel because of defendants' lack of cooperation. You couldn't file a motion for spoliation relief because defendants' lack of cooperation. This I don't even know. See where they're going with this. Let's see. The court has also granted plaintiff leave to depose Melina Joransson in Sweden, where that deposition has not yet occurred due to the requirements of the international discovery process. Testimony of both defendant and Ms. Joransson is material to the issues raised in defendant's MSJ. Probably not true, but we'll see. Accordingly, plaintiff respectfully requests that the court deny defendant's MSJ without prejudice, with leave to refile after completion of defendant's and Ms. Joransson's depositions and the resolution of outstanding discovery issues. The alternative, should the court decline to deny the motion, plaintiff requests a 2-week enlargement of time from the date of such ruling to respond to defendant's motion for summary judgment pursuant to federal civil procedure. Okay, hang on. Plaintiff respectfully requests the court deny his MSJ without prejudice, with leave to refile after the completion of the depositions. In the alternative, the court declined to deny the motion, requests a 2-week enlargement of time from the date of such ruling to respond to the motion for summary judgment. I might be retarded, but I think this technically isn't a response. I think this is a separate motion to deny a summary judgment. I think this isn't technically a response, so they want, if you choose to grant the motion, they want an extra response, basically. Okay. This seems fucking dumb already, but fuck it. I guess they're just fucking throwing shit at the wall at this point. What else are they gonna do? What do you really expect? I missed some stuff in the chat. Let me see. Once again, blocked, bullying. Oh yeah, you're bullying the AI. I'm on. Stop doing that. CS. No, I just got the notification. Oh yeah, what's up, CSF? You didn't miss anything. This is just the introduction so far. I think I saw you post that like right when I was starting reading this. I think you're good. Hey, nothing, you just started. Thanks. Got your introduction. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going. Relevant facts and procedural background. 1. On February 18, 2025, plaintiff filed her initial complaint against Bonnell, so almost a year ago. That's how long this has been going on. 2. On April 4, 2025, the court entered a scheduling order wherein it said, inter alia, discovery cutoff date is December 16, 2025. Right, so 2 months ago almost. 3. On April 3rd, 2025, plaintiff moved for a preliminary injunction. Defendant opposed on April 25th, and plaintiff replied on May 2nd. June 3rd, there's a missing period. There's a missing comma. What the fuck are you people doing? Why can't they just fucking make? How does this happen? Why do they keep doing this? Why do they keep fucking just? How do you miss this comma? How do you miss it? I can't. Okay. On June 3rd, a hearing was held before Magistrate Judge Torres. Oh hey, I know that hearing. I was there. No way. That's crazy. They missed the fucking comma, but at least they're not wrong. Okay, that was indeed on June 3rd. 4. On May 23rd, 2025, after the defendant refused to agree to the terms of a proposed protective order seeking to protect the confidential and intimate information of the plaintiff and non-party witnesses, the plaintiff was compelled to file a motion for protective order governing discovery, which the court granted on September 2nd, 2025. That is not what happened. I'm pretty sure we can just look at it. That is not exactly what happened. Hang on. Can I find this? May 23rd, they said? Hang on. Motion for protective order, current discovery, where was granted? Dissent, motion of abstention. Response, stipulation, reply, response to... Where's it at? Where is it at? I know this took a while to get actually fucking ordered. Fucking hell. Hang on. Let's read this. Yeah, because what happened here... Maybe it's in the exhibits, maybe? Fucking hell. I'm not gonna be able to find it. Whatever. Fuck is that? What? Alright, dude. Dang games. I'm not gonna fucking find it. Whatever. The issue was that they wanted everything fucking sealed forever and ever. That was the issue in this, okay? It wasn't that they refused to agree to the terms seeking to protect confidential and intimate information. That's already protected. The confidential and intimate information of plaintiff and non-party witnesses is already protected. Okay? That was never the fucking issue. It was all the other bullshit they were trying to get in there. Okay. Oh shit, thanks for the follow. It's Swep. It's SW3P. Thanks. Also, Lyan234, 18 minutes ago. Thanks. Whole year of this, yeah. Wait, so if they let the response to the motion of summary judgment lapse, because they assume this response, what happens? Unknown person? I don't fucking know. We'll look that up after, I guess, to see, because I that might be the case that this is just a separate motion, and they, in theory, might just not get a chance to give a response, because they're, if I'm understanding this last paragraph, then in theory, the court could just grant this motion of summary judgment and not give them, because they have to request it, then in theory they just wouldn't get one, so I don't fucking know. Oh shit, what's up, Kev? How you doing? Okay. That was a tangent. Okay, let's keep reading. 5. Discovery could not commence until the protective order was entered. This is not true. You could have still done discovery until the protective order was entered. This discovery period was only 3.5 months. It's not true. You could have kept doing discovery before the protective order was entered. You chose not to. Declaration Joan Peters at 2. Let's see. What did she have to say in this? 2. I'm submitting this declaration. Retarded. 2 is here. Am I in the wrong place? That's definitely a declaration of Joan Peters, no? They just cite the wrong thing? Or is it maybe the this is further shortened by the state order, see infra. Okay, I don't think they're doing that. Kev, today I got on full XR cryptic. No more monitors, just glass display. Oh shit, no way. That's crazy. Full glasses. Okay, this is just not true, not how that works, but okay. 6. Since the protective order was issued, plaintiff diligently conducted and participated in discovery, sure, including serving 3 requests for production of documents, a request for admissions, interrogatories, 2. Responding to defendants' 2 sets of interrogatories, 5 requests for production of documents, and proceeding over 3650 documents. When it's 3,650, that's because they did like every fucking like text in its own fucking document, by the way. that's why. But alright. 3. Serving multiple objection letters regarding defendants' deficient responses to requests for admissions, interrogatories and document productions attempting to resolve discovery disputes, the infra. 4, 3 non-party witness depositions. 5, presenting a non-party witness's response to a subpoena to Tecom and producing over 400 documents. Are they bragging that they represented Lauren De Laguna in this? Okay. 6, serving 6 subpoenas to Tecom on various entities including Kiwi Farms, Discord, Google, Instagram, also non-party witness. How did those go? How did those go for them, I wonder? 7, extensive ongoing efforts to depose non-party witness William Jorgensen in Sweden, which have gone really well, I'm sure. And 8, extensive efforts to coordinate party depositions. No, that is not true. They did not take extensive efforts to do that. A lot of this is just not true. 1, they requested intermission, sure. Responding to Ducre, okay, they didn't respond very well according to Destiny. 3, serving multiple objection letters regarding so that's not really something to brag about. 3 non-party witness depositions, congratulations. Representing a non-party witness response, bragging for Lauren De Laguna, I guess. Serving 6 subpoenas on all these people. None of these went anywhere, so I don't know why they're bragging about it. On the efforts, Malia Jorgensen, useless. Extensive efforts, not true. Like, this is just, I don't even know what the fuck they're saying. I mean, yeah, they did all this, but a lot of this is just fucking way misrepresented. Good job. Kev said, extra real ones, they changed everything 2D, 3D. I'll be able to watch Kick in 3D. Damn. It's crazy. 6, 7. Oh shit, true. 6 and 7. Alright, money having to open 3,600 links from individual messages I'd rope. Yeah, that's what Disney that told me whenever that happened. That shit was crazy. 7. December 4, 2025. The court granted plaintiff's motion to file First Amendment complaint, which was filed on December 5th, 2025. Yeah, true. Party depositions and the stay order. 8. On September 17th, 2025, plaintiff's counsel requested defendant's available date for deposition. September 26th, the deposition of the defendant was confirmed for November 6, 2025. 9. Thereafter, a scheduling dispute ensued regarding plaintiff's deposition, and defendant retracted his confirmation of his deposition. November 4th, 2025, defendant filed a motion for protective order to coordinate deposition scheduling. Wait, am I... A scheduling dispute ensued regarding... That's it? That's their whole summary of that situation? It was just a scheduling dispute, bro, where they didn't show up to an actually scheduled deposition that they had, and then just decided not to show up, and then they got a protective order granted. November 5th, 2025, Magistrate Judge Torres entered an order staying the November 6th deposition defendant pending resolution defense motion protective order. When his motion was fully briefed and submitted to the court on November 17th, motion protective order is still pending, and thus plaintiff was precluded from taking defendant's deposition prior to December 16th discovery deadline. Yeah, and defendant was also unable to take plaintiff's deposition. Yeah? What the fuck is this summary of the situation? Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. Let's keep going. Motion to dismiss and motion to depose witness in Sweden. This might be new information if they responded or anything, so let's see what the fuck happened. 11. September 19, 2025, defendant filed a motion to dismiss the amended complaint inter alia raising therein factual claims which were refuted by plaintiff, including via expert testimony. Motion to dismiss is still pending. Okay, so that was the correct. So the motion to dismiss because of asserted matter jurisdiction. Which were refuted, including via expert testimony. That was kind of refuted as well. But, motion to dismiss is still pending. 12. November 5th, 2025, this court granted plaintiff's motion for issuance of letter of request to depose a witness in Sweden. Letter of request was sent to the U.S. Department of State and was then submitted to the Ministry of Justice in Sweden in mid-December. Was it mid-December? Okay. The Ministry of Justice confirmed the request is being processed, however, the deposition has not yet been scheduled. Okay, so this is a funny sentence right here. I'm just a guess here. What this sentence means is they confirmed that they received it. However, the deposition has not yet been scheduled because they just received it and didn't fucking. That's it. That's all they know is that they got it and that's it. What a fucking joke. Okay. Findings deficient document productions and plaintiffs thwarted a motion to compel. Okay, on November 19, 2025, plaintiff held a meeting confirmed with defendant regarding his deficient document production and plaintiff's intended motion to compel. 1. Defendant made his first production on September 12th, 7 days late. Plaintiff objected via letters on September 18th. October 17th and October 24th. Defendant responded with a second production on November 12th, to which plaintiff also objected on November 18th. Okay, this is fucking already retarded. Okay, hold on. Hang on. So his first production, November 12th. They objected on all these dates, and then they got a second production on November 12th, to which plaintiff also objected on November 18th. Defendant agreed to make an additional production, allegedly to cure the deficiencies, and also agreed that if the additional production did not cure the deficiencies, defense counsel were available on December 11th or December 18th. The last 2 dates available for discovery hearings on Magistrate Judge Torres' calendar at the time. Okay, do they know they can just file a motion to compel? Are they aware of this? So they were mad. Since September 18th, they were pissed, okay? And they just didn't, they never filed a motion to compel. They didn't do it. Okay, cool. November 25th, defendant made an additional production which did not cure the noted deficiencies, in their opinion. Plaintiff had exhausted her efforts to resolve deficiencies without resorting to court. Yeah, okay. On December 3rd, plaintiff contacted Magistrate Judge Torres' chambers pursuant to his order setting discovery procedures and was informed that December 18th was the only remaining discovery calendar date available in December. December 4th, plaintiff advised defense counsel writing supplemental production did not cure the deficiencies, identifying plaintiff's 4 deficiency letters. Plaintiff moving forward with a motion to compel via hearing on the 18th. Defense counsel, despite having previously confirmed availability, claimed that none of the 4 attorneys were available on the 18th. When did they previously confirm availability? If you say that they never responded or anything, but okay. Defense counsel said unavailability for December 18th effectively prevented plaintiff from obtaining judicial resolution of defendant's discovered deficiencies despite plaintiff's diligence. Couldn't they just go by themselves? This seems fucking retarded. They like you know you could just file a motion to compel, right? Like you could just do that. That's just something they could do. Like what the fuck am I? Plaintiff stored a motion to compel. What do you mean plaintiff stored a motion to compel? This section, they didn't. No motion to compel was described here. Are they okay? Good one. Okay. Expert reports and evidence of spoliation. October 16, 2025, plaintiff timely submitted to the defendant the expert reports of her forensic and medical experts, Mr. Jesus Pena and Dr. Robert Gordon. Medical experts? The fuck? Okay, cool. Defendant noticed the deposition of Mr. Pena for December 16, 2025, but canceled the deposition 2 days prior. Defendant never sought to depose Dr. Gordon. The fuck did... What could they possibly need a medical expert for? Does anybody know? What could they possibly need a medical expert for on this? Okay. Also, just pet peeve. They wrote Mr. Jesus Pena instead of Pena because they didn't do the tilde on the end. It's a little annoying, but okay. I never sought to depose Dr. Gordon. Well, you guys never used Dr. Gordon's expert testimony in anything ever, so maybe they just didn't care. 20. Mr. Pena's expert report opined that the defendant failed to use forensically sound data preservation and omitted the essential step of generating cryptographic hash values at the time of collection. Moreover, Mr. Pena opined that the documents produced by defendant and relied on by defendant in his motion to dismiss and now his motion for summary judgment bear indicia of alteration and tampering. Didn't they literally, take back that allegation? Didn't they literally take that back? Am I crazy? I know I'm not crazy. Hang on. Come to my attention made a conclusion of tampering based on defendant's incomplete and faulty document production. The issue addressed in paragraph 17 and 18. What occurred is this. More to know. Again, the only issue is that this. Certain house plaintiff has a failed production, which can defendant's student's declaration. So I reply. I'm pretty sure they took back that allegation, so okay. At Jen Wink. Show harm, she would need medical evidence of mental anguish, emotional damage, lol, but that's jumping gun damages when you have to improve your claim. Oh, I see. Dr. Robert Gordon was their psychologist for emotional, to show emotional damages. I mean, I don't. What? Okay, cool. I guess. I mean, why did they. Defendant never sought to depose Dr. Gordon. Why would they depose him? Were they gonna dispute that Pixie was like in emotional anguish. They've never done that. That's never been in contention in this fucking case. So okay, cool. That's pretty funny though. Something that damages when you haven't even proved your claim. Correct, Genwing. So yeah, so that for some reason they were. I guess it makes sense. They would have to do that to get a medical expert for, she was in mental anguish or she was suppressed or whatever the fuck. But like what? What? Okay, cool. A little ahead of themselves there, but okay. 21. The issues relating to deficient preservation and possible tampering evidence must be explored at defendant's deposition. Should defendant fail to provide a credible explanation of his preservation methods and the indicia of alteration, plaintiff will need to seek appropriate judicial relief, including spoliation sanctions. Why didn't they ever do this before? They've been told repeatedly by the judge, you keep talking about spoliation, but you've never filed a motion for spoliation relief. They keep getting told this. A finding of spoliation could result in an adverse inference regarding the defendant's disclosure of the video to ABMC, which would not only defeat summary judgment, also support plaintiff's punitive damages claim. Okay, maybe I'm crazy. Call me crazy, okay? But unless ABMC has some evidence that we haven't found out about yet, it's literally just her word that she received the video of Pixie. Literally, right now, at this point. It's just her word that this happened. So, maybe that would defeat summary judgment, but I don't know how that would support punitive damages claim. I don't. This makes no sense to me. But okay. Motion to modify the scheduling order and other pending motions. Jen Wink said that is the only medically relevant info I can think of. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, if it was like a rape thing, then that could be a medical thing. But the only medical thing that I could imagine would be like psychological evaluation or something, right? Okay, December 4th, 2025, 12 days before the cutoff for discovery, with unresolved deficiencies in the defendant's document production, state order is still in place preventing the taking of defendant's deposition. Yeah. So, Linda filed a motion to modify the scheduling order. Motion to modify is still pending. Yeah, so they're talking about them asking for discovery to be extended. Currently, the following motions are pending resolution. Plaintiff's motion protective order governing public commentary. Plaintiff's motion for order to show cause. Defendant's motion to dismiss. Defendant's motion for protective order to coordinate deposition scheduling. Defendant's motion for sanctions. Plaintiff's motion for sanctions. Plaintiff's motion to modify the scheduling order. And joint notice of resolution of confidentiality designation and motion for leave to refile papers. So this would be plaintiff's motion for protective order. This was them trying to get Destiny to stop talking about the case like on stream and shit. Motion for order to show cause, I believe, was about Destiny supposedly sharing part of a transcript or something on Food Shop stream. Defendant's motion to dismiss, it's just the motion to dismiss for subject matter jurisdiction. Motion for protective order to coordinate deposition scheduling was defendant trying to have the court dictate when Destiny and Pixie's depositions would be. Motion for sanctions was the motion for sanctions on Pixie and her lawyers for not showing up to the deposition, and for I believe that was the only thing for this. It might have had to do also with the stuff relating to Abby and fuckery around that. Plaintiff's motion for sanctions was just the no you sanctions, which is retarded. Plaintiff's motion to modify the scheduling order was for the discovery extension, and the joint notice of confidentiality designation motion for leave to refile, I believe, was around Rose's testimony, or quote unquote Rose's deposition testimony. Okay, 7 pages in out of 16. Let's go. Memorandum of Law. Part 1, Legal Standard. 56D permits a court to defer or deny a motion for summary judgment, allow additional time for discovery, or issue an appropriate order if a non-movement shows by affidavit or declaration that for specified reasons it cannot present facts essential to justify its opposition. Non-movement shows by affidavit or declaration that for specified reasons cannot present facts. Keep reading. Maybe it'll make sense. Quoting this, summary judgment may be premature where important discovery remains ongoing. 11th Circuit has held that summary judgment should not be granted until the party opposing the motion has had an adequate opportunity to complete discovery prior to consideration of the motion. This is this. When essential discovery remains outstanding, the court has found it appropriate to defer ruling on a motion for summary judgment until after such discovery has been completed. This denying without prejudice as premature a motion for summary judgment to allow time to depose critical witness. Okay, so I think what they're just trying to show in this paragraph is if the judge decides that there is important discovery left to be done, they can deny a summary judgment motion just for that, in theory. Whether to grant or deny a Rule 56D motion for discovery requires the court to balance the movement's demonstrated need for discovery against the burden such discovery will place on the opposing party. In striking this balance, though, the 11th Circuit has explained that Rule 56D is infused with a spirit of liberality. Well, big. Unless dilatory or lacking in merit, a Rule 56D motion should be liberally treated. Oh my god, these darn liberals. These fucking liberals, man. Am I right? Okay, part 2. Argument. A. The court should deny or defer the MSJ because plaintiff has been unable to take defendant's deposition or complete other discovery critical to disputing defendant's MSJ and statement of undisputed material facts. Okay, so they're disputing the statement of undisputed material facts. Cool. Let's see. Court should deny or defer defendant's motion until such time the plaintiff can take the deposition of defendant and complete other discovery necessary to oppose the MSJ and SUMF. Stay order has been in effect since November 5th, 2025, effectively precluding plaintiff from taking defendant's deposition. Effectively precluding it? Not effectively. It's just precluding it. I mean, it's not like that's like a side effect. That's the whole point. Plaintiff's inability to depose defendant is not attributable to any lack of diligence or delay on her part. No, it kind of is though. It kind of is, but okay. To the contrary, plaintiff actively sought to schedule defendant's deposition beginning on September 17th, approximately 2 weeks after entry of the September 2nd protective order and the commencement of discovery. Yeah, but then Pixie didn't show up to hers, so unlucky. Deposition was scheduled for November 6th, at which point plaintiff would have had sufficient time to seek appropriate discovery relief, including spoliation sanctions, prior to the close of discovery. I mean, you still had all that time to seek discovery relief, including spoliation sanctions, prior to the close of discovery. If the argument is that what? You had that. You had the time to seek it. You didn't do it though. Okay. Defendant's deposition is essential to plaintiff's ability to meaningfully oppose the MSJ, SUMF, and to demonstrate the existence of genuine disputes of material fact. Okay. Defendant's MSJ rests on two central assertions. One, the defendant's disclosure of the video to Rose occurred prior to the October 1st, 2022 effective date of Cardi. They're still disputing that? Okay. And two, the defendant did not disclose the video to IBMC. To prevail in summary judgment, defendant must establish that both propositions are undisputed. The MSJ relies primarily on defendant Pinnell's declaration and documents he produced and attached exhibits to establish these allegedly uncontested facts. Courts have repeatedly recognized the summary judgment inappropriate where the non-moving party has not had an opportunity to depose the declarants whose affidavits form the basis of the motion. In closely analogous circumstance, the 11th Circuit reversed the denial of a Rule 56D motion. Plaintiffs were denied the opportunity to depose officials whose affidavits were submitted in support of summary judgment. The Circuit reversed the denial of a Rule 56D motion, or plaintiffs were denied. Okay. Detailed below, plaintiff requires additional discovery to challenge the defendant's purportedly undisputed facts and to adequately respond to MSJ. Okay, so basically what they're trying to say here is that the only way that they could have done a motion for spoliation relief or sanctions or a motion to compel would be if they had been able to depose Destiny, which is a bit retarded. Alright, okay, SB7. Fuck I missed the notice. Can someone TLDR me? Oh shit, SB. Somebody will be able to TLDR you, I'm sure. Because everyone's paying rapt attention, right? Okay. 1. Defendant's disclosure of the video to Rose. Wait a minute. Okay. Even assuming, arguendo, defendant disclosed the video to Rose prior to the October 1st, 2022 effective date of Cardi. Okay, so they're already saying that if you assume it, which means they're saying that it didn't happen that way, but okay, I don't know why they're still arguing that. Plaintiff contends that the manner of that disclosure rendered the video accessible after that date. Let's see. Let's see what they have to say. Plaintiff must depose defendant to determine how the video was transmitted, whether and when defendant deleted the video attachment from the Discord chat thread, and defendant's knowledge of Discord's well-documented security vulnerabilities relating to the exposure of user attachments. This is not how that worked. This is just not how that worked. You can just remember, if you guys remember from months ago, whenever we read their whole thing on this, their argument was because you could monkey on a keyboard, type the link to the Discord image, that means that it was available publicly or whatever. It's not exactly how it works. Security vulnerabilities that they were talking about were specifically people like resending the same fucking like virus in multiple different places. Like, this is not how that worked. But okay. As these questions are directly relevant to plaintiff's continuous accessibility theory and may yield additional evidence supporting her claims. What additional evidence could they possibly yield from that? What could you possibly yield from asking Destiny about it? Your continuous accessibility theory has already been like done. Okay, if you want to have that, you already had that argument with your expert witness, and it's still, like you said before, that's still like pending ruling. So okay. Without defendant's deposition testimony, plaintiff cannot adequately address or rebut defendant's assertion on summary judgment. So that's an argument that they could make, that is the case. That they're just kind of saying that. They're just saying because maybe he has something. Maybe if we ask him about it, we'll get something more. Therefore, we need this, bro. Please, Judge, we need this. My client's kind of homeless, bro. Please, we need this. Like what? What are you trying to say? Okay, 2. Defendant's disclosure of the video to Abby MC. The MSJ and SUMF rely heavily on defendant's penal declaration and certain documents he produced to support the contention that it is an undisputed fact that he did not transmit the video to Abby MC. See all these. Defendant declares, I have preserved the entirety of my communication logs with Abby MC, including all media files. I did not transmit or otherwise disclose the video depicting plaintiff to Abby MC at any time. Yet plaintiff has had no opportunity to test the veracity of this assertion through deposition testimony. But maybe... okay, we'll keep reading. Moreover, paragraphs 11 and 12 of defendant's declaration line exhibits E and F as purported support. Plaintiff's forensic experts identified significant indicia of tampering and spoliation in these exhibits, raising substantial questions as to their authenticity and reliability. Okay, this is wonderful, but they have no counter evidence for this, because Abby MC has not given any proof at all that she actually received the fucking video. She's just saying it. And she's very mentally ill. She might believe it. I don't think she does, but she might believe it. The authenticity and provenance of exhibits E and F must be examined through defendant's deposition. How is defendant's deposition going to fucking tell you this? He'll just say, yeah, she never sent it. Yeah, the exhibits are in fact what I, like, all of my logs with MC. And that's all he would ever say. What the fuck do you expect to get from a deposition? Numerous material questions remain unanswered, including but not limited to the steps defendant took to preserve evidence. See footnote 1. Footnotes provided conflicting accounts of his preservation of evidence methods. In a preliminary injunction hearing, testified they used online platforms to request a copy of all chat threads. But in a declaration submitted to the court, he used a third-party app called Discord Log Exporter to export all relevant messages into an HTML file. Is Discord Log Exporter not an online platform? Does he not think that, is this contradictory? I'm not the retard. Like, this is just not contradictory at all. What? Discord Log Exporter is an online platform, but okay. Okay. So steps defendant took to preserve evidence. What evidence, if any, was deleted? Whether the defendant obtained or retained hash values or metadata. Why his production lacks such metadata. Why attachment links and embedded files are missing. Whether the defendant used a reliable e-discovery platform. Whether he used redact to delete Discord messages. And whether communications were archived. Whether he used redact to delete Discord. Okay, based. Oh my god. Imagine we get fucking Dan in this. Oh shit. They gotta depose Dan for information on how the redact application works. Holy based. Okay. Particularly concerning is Exhibit E, an Excel spreadsheet that appears to have been artificially created by defendant for purposes of supporting the motion for summary judgment. What the fuck did they mean artificially created by defendant? As opposed to, like, physically created by him? Yeah, it's an Excel spreadsheet. Like, what the fuck? Hello? Like, what is the opposite of artificially? Opposite of artificially. There's a word there, isn't there? Genuine, sincere. Yeah, like what? Like natural, like as opposed to like naturally created by defendant. Like what? Okay. Plaintiffs must question defendant regarding when, how, and why Exhibit E was created, as well as inconsistencies between Exhibit E and Exhibit F. For example, Exhibit E purports to list MP4 files transmitted to IBMC, including file names, creation dates, and transmission dates. The file names reflect creation timestamps that postdate the alleged transmission dates. Question J. Peters, in a comparison, the timestamp Google Drive file identifiers in the two URLs from the chat thread in Exhibit F do not match the same from the spreadsheet list. Then prepared a muted file sent to IBMC in Exhibit E. Okay, that's because the fucking retarded shit where it's like an L looks like a 1 because they fucking scanned it or some shit. Holy fuck. These inconsistencies require explanation cannot be resolved without defendant's testimony. Okay. What do you, like, you can absolutely resolve it without defendant's testimony. You file a motion to compel. You don't need his testimony for that. It's just not true. I don't. Okay. Defendant's assertion that he, quote, preserved the entirety of his communications with IBMC further necessitates inquiry into what defendant considers preserved communications, how those records were generated, and the role of redact or other tools in producing exhibits E and F. His defendant cannot authenticate these exhibits and establish their reliability. He is presently in serious doubt. He cannot rely on them to support summary judgment on the issue of disclosure to IBMC. This, brother, that was a fucking cherry on top, okay, for the summary judgment. Because IBMC never gave any evidence. So that was just an extra, by the way, she has no evidence, and we do have evidence. That's what it is, okay? If he has no evidence, she still doesn't have any evidence, bro. Like, what? Plaintiff has been denied the opportunity to examine defendant regarding the exhibits that form the crux of the motion for summary judgment. Allowing plaintiff to obtain defendant's deposition testimony is essential to developing the factual record necessary to oppose summary judgment. Precluding plaintiff from doing so would substantially prejudice her ability to oppose a motion for summary judgment and would impair her ability to fully prosecute her claims, including her claim for punitive damages. This is... wow. Hold on, let me drink water. It's just... they're just saying that they need Destiny's deposition. They're not really saying why, because Destiny's answers could just be, yeah, what I submitted is in fact true and accurate. Like, what else would he say besides that? Okay. SB7 said, sometimes Excel spreadsheets grow on their own if they're watered, or on occasion nuclear fission. True. I think I heard that. And then MT27 said organically. That would also work, yeah. Organically created. True. Okay. B. Defendant's failure to comply with discovery obligations independently warrants denial or deferral of the MSJ. Let's see. Denial or deferral of defendant's motion for summary judgment is independently warranted because defendant's document production remains incomplete and deficient. Missing discovery bears directly on plaintiff's ability to rebut defendant's assertion that no genuine disputes of material fact exist. Defendant should not be permitted to seek summary judgment while failing to comply with his discovery obligations. Okay. So, all this, you know what this means? It means you probably should have filed for motion to compel. If it's that important, bro. If it's that important, if they really need this, you could have just filed it for a motion to compel. Could have filed for spoliation sanctions, like you could have done any of that, bro. But they didn't do any of that. They're just yapping. As detailed in the declaration of Joan Peters, defendant repeatedly failed to produce documents responsive to plaintiff's request despite multiple written objections and several meet and confer efforts. For example, plaintiff requested production of all documents identified by the defendant as being in his possession in his initial disclosures, or defendant never produced those materials. According to the defendant's initial disclosures, these documents included inter alia communication between plaintiff and third parties concerning the defendant, social media posts concerning the defendant, plaintiff Substack statements concerning defendant, Q-Firm's data concerning plaintiff and defendant, YouTube videos, Twitter posts regarding plaintiff and or defendant, and messages exchanged via Instagram, Snapchat, Telegram, WhatsApp, and Signal regarding plaintiff and or defendant. What? Okay. So they're saying that he didn't give us every single one of these things. Okay. Additionally, defendant failed to reduce attachments or embedded links sent by him in chat threads, including the chat thread between defendant and ABMC. They wanted the. Okay. Okay. Pause. They're saying that they really, really wanted all of those videos that he sent to IMC. So very clearly, the reason they want them is because they want to make sure that none of them are the video of Pixie, right? Or any other videos of Pixie, or any other videos of any other people who they could file for fucking another thing because they also want to say that they didn't give consent. Okay, like what? Okay, he said which ones are which, and because AbMC only said that the thing was sent via Google Drive, doesn't he posted, here's all the things. These are the 3 Google Drive or 2 Google Drives, whatever they were, and those are not of Pixie. They're of this other person, Baby Peach. That's what had happened. But they want the videos to be extra sure because they want. Okay. Said defendant produced only attachments sent by AbMC. The missing attachments are directly relevant to rebutting defendant's purportedly undisputed facts and are material to the issues raised in MSJ. They didn't even say why. They're just saying that it's directly relevant. They're not even saying why it's directly relevant. But okay. If it is the case that this is a separate motion and not a response, or even if it was, then Destiny gets a reply to this. The response to this one is because AbMC said it was in Google Drive, we provided you, here's the 3 Google Drives, here's it in another chat thread with this other girl, Baby, who said that those are of her. So this is just, there's no dispute here. There's no dispute here. Those videos are not of Pixie because they're of another person. This is crazy. Plaintiff will be required to seek relief through a motion to compel. Will be required? What do you will be required to? You can just do that, bro. Nothing, because no one's stopping you. There's no gun to your head stopping you from filing a motion to compel, bro. Okay. However, due to defendant's dilatory conduct and timing the protective order and commencement of the active discovery phase, plaintiff cannot reasonably have brought such a motion earlier. Why? They're just saying because we didn't have time. You had so much time. Plaintiffs attempted to schedule a discovery hearing before Magistrate Judge Torres, but despite having previously represented their availability, defendant's 4 attorneys claimed they were all unavailable on the final available hearing date in December. Then just do it anyway. Like, why did you schedule a discovery hearing instead of filing a motion to compel? Hello? Defendant now seeks to benefit from its deficient, dilatory defendant discovery conduct and from his asserted unavailability by pursuing a one-sided motion for summary judgment. 56D exists precisely to prevent such an outcome. Under these circumstances, defendant's motion for summary judgment be denied or at a minimum deferred until defendant has complied with his discovery obligations, plaintiff had a fair opportunity to obtain and present material evidence. Wow. So true. Queen. So true. All right, give me 2 seconds. I'm going to lower the AC. It's a little more. Be right back. Okay. C. Issues of authenticity, tampering, and spoliation must be resolved before summary judgment can be determined. Plaintiffs uncovered substantial grounds for potential spoliation claim based on her forensic experience. So why didn't they file a motion for this? Okay, this is a joke. This is a joke. This has to be a joke. Plaintiffs uncovered substantial grounds for potential spoliation claim based on her forensic expert's findings concerning defendant's document production. These findings necessitate additional discovery, most notably the deposition of defendant, potentially related motions. But what? Plaintiff's inability to pursue discovery earlier is through no fault of her own, but rather stems from the defendant's apparent misconduct. Let's see. Defendant failed to employ forensically sound data preservation practices and omitted the critical step of generating cryptographic hash values at the time of collection. Then why don't you file for a motion for spoliation sanctions or a motion to compel? Moreover, the documents the defendant produced, and upon which he relied both in his motion to dismiss and as a motion for summary judgment, were indicia of alteration and tampering. Then why didn't you file a motion for dismiss or a motion to compel or a motion for spoliation relief? The issues relating to defendant preservation and potential evidence manipulation must be explored to the defendant's deposition. Or you could just file a motion to compel or a motion for spoliation sanction. Inquiry into defendant's preservation methods, tools, collection dates, sources of electronically stored information, digital fingerprints, metadata, and hash values is necessary to assess the scope and impact of the spoliation issues, which may materially prejudice plaintiff's claims and potential damages. Then why did you file a motion to compel or a motion for spoliation sanction? The defendant failed to provide a credible explanation for his preservation practices and the apparent indicia of alteration. Plaintiff would be required to seek appropriate judicial relief, including spoliation sanctions. Or you could have already done that. Or a motion to compel for any of this at all if you were unsatisfied with the back and forth. Plaintiff could not have sought spoliation sanctions prior to deposing defendant without risking denial of such a motion as premature. So consistently held that spoliation determination should await the development of a substantial factual record. Although Rule 37 does not specify a deadline for filing spoliation motions, courts recognize that such motions may be brought either too late or too early. So like they might, but so they're saying we couldn't have done it because you might have denied it. That's always the case. It could always be denied. What? iWarlord says they just want them to leave the inevitable is what I'm reading. Yeah, of course. That's all. Of course, they want extra discovery because they want extra time to keep searching for more BS. That's what they want to keep doing. Okay. Let's keep reading. Here, unresolved factual questions require defendant's deposition before plaintiff could responsibly pursue spoliation sanctions. Following that deposition, plaintiff anticipates being able to establish defendant's bad faith spoliation of evidence that underlies his motion for summary judgment, seek an adverse inference that defendant disclosed the video to ABMC. Wait a minute. Following that deposition, following Destiny's deposition, plaintiff anticipates being able to establish defendant's bad faith spoliation of evidence that underlies his motion for summary judgment, and to seek an adverse inference that defendant disclosed the video to ABMC. Now, this is a thing. Adverse inference. Let's Google that, okay? Adverse inference is legal principle allowing a court or jury to assume that missing, destroyed, or withheld evidence would have been unfavorable to the party responsible for its absence. Okay, so they're saying is if they can prove that Destiny mishandled the evidence of his communications with ABMC, therefore it happened, bro. Like the only reason they want this is because they don't have any evidence from ABMC because it didn't happen. So no shit. Okay, an inference that would preclude summary judgment support plaintiff's claim at trial. So they're just saying it out loud now. Okay, they have no evidence from ABMC. The evidence does not exist. ABMC was full of shit every time she said that they had the evidence, including in Discord, in Darius's Discord server. When I asked her explicitly, and she said that she did in fact have evidence. They're saying they don't have evidence that Destiny actually sent to ABMC. So instead, what they want is if they can show that the bad faith spoliation of evidence happened, okay, that the evidence was spoliated, then maybe they can get an adverse inference that maybe he disclosed the video to ABMC. What? What? This is crazy. This is crazy. Finding spoliation would also provide independent support for plaintiff's claim for punitive damages. All right, bro. So why didn't you file a motion for it then? Jesus. Like they had all of discovery to do this. They could have filed a motion to compel at any point in the many months that they had discovery, including the months that they pretend that discovery was on pause when it wasn't actually on pause for the protective order, because they still could have done it without a protective order, and then it could have been subsumed under a further protective order, Or maybe the protective order would have been denied, or maybe they could have just done things that they were already like already can be disclosed. Like, this is just crazy. It's insane. Hold on, I'm receiving communications right now. Somebody said, if you haven't pointed it out, they can't complain about not having enough time because Destiny filed the MSJ in the literal last possible day to do so. So it's not like Destiny filed this prematurely, he filed it in a way that gave them the maximum amount of time. This is also true. Destiny's motion of summary judgment was on the last possible day to file MSJ, so they could have done it at any time before this MSJ. They could have filed any of this, anything. They could have literally done before then. They must be so mad that their extension wasn't granted, lol. I mean, they're probably most mad that the judge is just not ruling on any of this shit, but that's probably it. Realistically, but also they're probably more mad that it's probably just gonna be probably it's gonna be denied. But you know, we'll see what happens. I mean that they're explicitly asking for it here is because they are hedging in case their motion for extension is denied, that maybe they can give it here. That's their hope, right? That's why they keep trying to do that here. All right, conclusion. For the foregoing reasons, plaintiff respectfully requests that the court deny or defer defendant's MSJ as premature. His critical discovery remains outstanding. The MSJ is not premature because it was the literal last day for it to be filed. Like, when was he supposed to do it then? Okay. Including plaintiff from completing this discovery, including but not limited to the depositions of the defendant and Melania Jorgensen. Footnote 2. Let's see, footnote 2, okay. Sought after discovery from Jorgensen will likely prove highly material to the prosecution of this action and lead to admissible relevant evidence, including potentially defense disclosure of the video to other women. Okay. Guys, please. Guys, if we could just depose Melania, she's going to tell us about all these other women that got the video from of Pixie. Please, this definitely happened. Guys, please. Like, this is actual, like, schizophrenia. Guys, there's so many other women that got the Pixie video. There's so many other, like, we haven't been able to find them in Europe, but guys, this is the one last thing, and we'll be able to find it surely this time. Okay, and the pursuit of a motion to compel and for spoliation sanctions substantially prejudice her ability to oppose the MSJ. Also, plaintiffs demonstrating need for discovery against any burden such discovery may impose on the defendant, applying the 11th Circuit's spirit of liberality. The balance weighs decidedly in plaintiff's favor. Discovery sought is routine in litigated matters, and defendant will suffer no prejudice as he may refile his MSJ after the completion of discovery. Okay. Alternatively, should the court deny this Rule 56D motion, plaintiff respectfully seeks, pursuant to Federal Rules of Procedure 6B, a 2-week enlargement of time from the date of such ruling to file opposition to the MSJ. Good cause exists for such an extension as plaintiff filed this motion in good faith and without any intent to delay the proceedings. Moreover, had plaintiff filed a substantive opposition to the MSJ contemporaneously with this Rule 56D motion, she would have risked waiving the protections afforded by Rule 56D. As the court explained in Burns, the protection afforded by Rule 56D is an alternative to response to opposition summary judgment under Rule 56E, designed to safeguard against a premature and improvident grant of summary judgment. Wherefore, plaintiff respectfully requests this court grant this Rule 56D motion, or alternatively grant a 2 weeks enlargement time to respond, and allow such other relief as warranted. Okay, so it was in fact the case. This is a separate motion instead of a reply. So in theory, so they're asking for, if this is denied, then to get it. In theory, that cannot be granted. So in theory, they might have just, if this is denied, they may have just, like, just fucking given up their right to reply. Which, granted, seems fair based on this. Like, I would guess, if this was denied, I imagine it would be granted that they get an extra reply. But in theory, that wouldn't be the case. But it's pretty funny. It's funny that could happen. Oh, wait, the footnotes continued on the second page. Okay, on the next page. Federal discovery from Jorgensen will likely prove highly material for prosecution, including potentially defense disclosure of the video to other women. Jorgensen is the former spouse of the defendant and is uniquely positioned to provide us evidence of the conduct complained of in the amended complaint, as well as similar conduct that she was a witness to. By way of example, Jorgensen is the recipient of certain sexually specific materials involving plaintiff. Okay. Jorgensen is expected to corroborate plaintiff's allegations, including those allegations regarding one else lacking consent to disclose the video. Okay. Moreover, Jorgensen is or is believed to be another victim of Pinnell's unlawful conduct. Finally, which is irrelevant to this. Finally, Johnson will testify to Monel's character as is relative to the case. So, this is true. Melina would have the testimony as to Destiny's character, but Johnson expects to be able to corroborate plaintiff's allegation, including the lack of consent to disclose it. Like Pixie already said at the hearing that there was in fact consent to share with Melina because Melina was Destiny's spouse. So it's a bit strange, but okay. Yeah. February 20th, 2026, counsel for plaintiff, with counsel for defendant on the relief requested herein, and a good faith effort to resolve the issues raised in this motion, and opposes this motion. Wow. What a fucking thing. I wore alerts that you should have gotten Kafka on to go over this with you. Well, yeah, he can't. He couldn't. He couldn't. I asked him, but he's not available. Lena's moved on with her acting career. I doubt she wants any part of this. Yeah, probably. That's otherwise she would. Otherwise, they wouldn't have needed a subpoena, like the fucking letter rogatory to whatever the fuck. They would have needed it. Thanks for. Oh shit! Thanks, Sylv. 1337 for the follow. Appreciate it. Last stand us. Even if it comes that there are more women with the vids, would that even help Pixie's case? That would help Pixie's case if more women received the video of Pixie. Because if assuming it happened after October 2022, then that would fall under the statute. That's why they're so obsessed with the IBMC, because she's the only person they were able to get that could that decided to seemingly lie that she got it, because she has presented no evidence of such. She said it was Google Drive, and the Google Drive links between Destiny and her are not of Pixie, and then she is also very mentally ill. Lied to me that she said to me that in Discord that she had the evidence, she had it and she already sent it to them. They haven't showed it, which makes me think it doesn't exist. And then she also said that she gave it to them like way before, which would have been before the hearing where they explicitly said that they didn't receive that. And then also, yeah, she's just a little crazy. She's just crazy. She's just mentally ill. It's just, another thing. I think Destiny posted recently they're still emailing people to join. Yeah, of course, because they know that they have nothing from Abby, because Abby's full of shit. So they need somebody, please, someone, if anyone out there, if you received this video from Destiny, reach out to Joan Peters, because they really want it. They really need it. They need somebody. That's the only way that this case survives. They have two ways, okay? The IBMC shit is assumed to have happened. The continuous disclosure argument is accepted, which is the theory is because it's on Discord and it's a live link, then that still counts somehow. That's the TLDR of this autism, pretty much, Damon. Yeah, just they really they need discovery because they need to depose Destiny, because that's the only way they could have filed a motion to compel for any evidence or a motion for spoliation or any of that. Even though it's not the case, they could have still done that anyways. But yeah. Who's winning? Woke Jon Snow? It's a great question. Technically nobody's winning now because it's just kind of in limbo right now, but most likely, if you wanted to say someone was winning, it would be Destiny, because Destiny's motions have been granted in Destiny's favor. Like the actual orders that have been done have been more positive to Destiny's than Pixie's, including explicitly saying that Pixie's arguments are dog shit, and also that Pixie's lawyers are behaving improperly, and also that all the other shit. So if anyone's winning, it's Destiny. Are you my Damon? Oh, CS Avenue. Do you know Damon? Is there something there? Interesting. Last stand. Isn't the federal charge about showing explicit material in a public forum? Why would other women privately having the videos matter? No, last stand. It's about transmission to someone. Right, it's about transmission, not necessarily about in public. Um, yeah, no, it's not about in public. In public makes it worse, but is in theory about transmission to just another party. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Damn it. So they posted the same contradictory claims the nth time with no evidence to back them up. Yeah, pretty much. They're just really trying here. I think I got the charges mixed up. Maybe I was thinking one of the state charges. Yeah, one of the state charges I believe is what you're thinking of. We just look at it. What are the different? Let's see, amended complaints. Where's the amended complaint? There it is. Boom. Okay. This claims pursuant to the Internet Image Protection Act, Sexual Cyber Harassment Statute of Florida, 784-049. Statute, what was it? 784-049. It's really bad in dark mode, so we'll do it in light mode, I guess. Kill my eyes. Remain private, common promise, specification. When such images are published on internet websites. Yeah, I think it's this one. About public. Just on the internet. Okay, one. Sexual cyber harassment means intentionally published to an internet website or intentionally disseminated through electronic means to another person. Oh, okay. So technically this one also has both, but yeah, it was intentionally published. This one includes intentionally published to an internet website. It does also include to another person through electronic means, technically. But yeah, that might also be one of the factors in the federal statute, but it is it does also include just a transmission to another person. CS Avenue. I brought a daemon to DG after a fuck Trump debate in LA. If you don't know me, we don't know each other. All good. I've been around DG for a long time. Oh, gotcha. Okay, so not CS's daemon. All right, cool. Oh yes, yes, you went to one of the Trump things. Yeah, that was cool. Nice. So not your daemon. Damn CS. I thought you would admit thought you had a friend in my chat. It's okay, you've got many other friends. Okay, let's see. So this was filed with an exhibit declaration from John Peters and the text of a proposed order. So let's just read the. This might be a lot of rehashing, so I might just skim it pretty much. Okay. Attorney Jonas Peters declares as follows: as detailed, given the attendant circumstances, plaintiff is unable to, as they have not been able to depose defendant or Melina. Plaintiff has been diligent in prosecuting this case since it was filed. So true. Definitely not factually inaccurate. Her defendant has repeatedly thwarted plaintiff's efforts at every step, opposing even the obvious need for protective order governing discovery in a case involving intimate images, information of plaintiff and non-party witnesses. To be clear, opposing even the obvious need for protective order governing discovery. They didn't oppose the existence of it. They opposed the particulars of it. This is just a retarded way to describe this. May 23rd, defendant refused. Plaintiff was compelled to file a motion. Wait, what? The defendant refused to agree to the terms of proposed protective order. Plaintiff was compelled to file a motion for protective order governing discovery. Court granted on this. First of all, it was granted in part, not in whole. Also, it was compelled. I don't know if this is technically improper, but plaintiff is not compelled to file this. They filed it because it happened. Because the word compel in this means like by a court order or some shit, but technically that's not what happened. Probably a small thing, but it's just a weird way of phrasing it. Okay, discovery could not commence till protective orders entered. This is just not the case. Discovery could have commenced. You could have done many things as a protective order because certain things were still confidential, but okay. Thus, the discovery period was only 3.5 months. This was further shortened by the state order C infra. Since the protective order was issued, plaintiff diligently conducted and participated in discovery, including all the things that they had mentioned in the actual document. Defendant has refused to produce relevant documents, including documents that he had tested were in his possession in his initial disclosures. 1. According to the defendant's initial disclosures, documents included all these things that were in the original thing. Let's see if this continued. It didn't. Okay. He dragged his feet and failed to adequately respond to multiple objection letters. The defendant failed to produce attachments or embedded links sent by him in chat threads, including the chat thread between defendant and IBMC. Instead, the defendant produced only attachments sent by IBMC, using attachments directly relevant to promoting defendant's purportedly undisputed facts and are material to issues rating these IBMC. So, if this is true, you could have just filed a motion to compel, or a motion for spoliation, or any of the things again, but they're just going to keep happening. Because that's their whole thing, is that, oh, we couldn't have done this, but you could have just filed a motion to compel. On November 19th, they had a meeting confirmed with defendants regarding this. Defendant made first objection December 12th. Okay. We already read all that. It's already in the other argument. Additional protection. Exhibit 4. Defense counsel by having previously confirmed availability, complaining that none of the 4 attorneys are available on the 18th. It's, source. Okay. Defense counsel sudden availability for this. Defendant's counsel sudden unavailability for December 18th effectively prevented plaintiff from retaining judicial resolution on defendant's discovery deficiencies despite plaintiff's diligence. So, no, because they could have just, gone. They could have just done it without Destiny's side. Or filed a motion to compel, or a motion for spoliation relief. Or deposition and a stay order. Defendant also authoritative plaintiff's efforts to oppose defendant. We already read all this in the other thing. After defendant's deposition date was confirmed, his counsel requested dates for plaintiffs. However, multiple dates in Miami and in Illinois. But arbitrarily, so true, rejected by defendant due to purported inconvenience to his out-of-state counsel. Yeah, but you rejected all the other dates because of purported inconvenience to your out-of-state client. So what? Okay, cool. Based. October 7, 2025, counsel met and conferred regarding the scheduling dispute, but were unable to reach an agreement. Defendant's counsel insisted on advertising his own convenience over the availability of plaintiff. And then unilaterally noticed plaintiff's deposition for November 3rd, 2025, despite having been informed that she was unavailable that day, and despite her other available dates. Thereafter, plaintiff repeatedly informed defendant that she could not and would not appear on November 3rd. Okay, but you didn't file that with the court, so it doesn't really matter. Number 4, defendant filed a motion for protective orders regarding deposition scheduling, thereby preventing plaintiff from taking the agreed to and scheduled deposition of defendant. On November 5th, they ordered motion for protective order is still pending, and thus plaintiff was precluded from taking the defendant's deposition prior to the December 16th discovery deadline. Yeah, but that's... Okay, cool. Cool, base. For reports, evidence of spoliation. I think we're already reading this. This is all the same stuff that was in the document itself. Should modify, still pending. Yeah, all this is still the same thing. Yeah, all of this is pretty much the same as what's already in the thing. That was the same thing. Penalties conflicting accounts of this, even though these don't really conflict, but okay. Yeah, all this is kind of the same stuff. It is my opinion that plaintiffs cannot respond to the MSJ in a meaningful way without taking the deposition of the defendant, that obtaining the missing documents from a defendant via motion to compel, then file a motion to compel, and without pursuing a motion for spoliation sanctions. Brother. So why didn't you do all this then? Okay. Without the above discovery and relief, plaintiffs will suffer unfair prejudice by having to prematurely respond to defendant's MSJ without having the opportunity to complete discovery. There should be no prejudice to defendant since he can refile his MSJ after discovery is complete. Kind of penalty of perjury. That's to the best of my knowledge. The foregoing is true and correct. Naples, Florida, for Richard 18th. Jones, Schlump, Pierce. Wow. What a document. Motion. And then this is just nothing, right? Yeah. Wow. MMHNEF says we are. What are we? MMHNEF? What is MMHNEF gonna say? It's gonna say we are Charlie Kirk? We are Mayahiga? We are. What? What is it, MMHNF? I'm so. I need to know. I need to know, please. Tell me. Charlie Kirk says tape deck. Thank you, tape deck. Okay. So that's that. Pretty much. I don't know. What now? I was just funny as the guy woke Jon Snow above me. We are winning. Oh, I see. True. We are winning. Because we are all Destiny. Just like we are all Charlie Kirk. And we are all Mahiga. So true. Wow. So will anything come of all these motions or what? I mean, we'll see. I mean, there's at some point they have to get ruled on. Hopefully, theoretically. Fuck knows. Who the fuck knows? If not, then it'll just the trial will just happen in May. So the fuck knows? Guess we'll find out. Pretty much. We are gay, says Less Tent. So true. And judges go motion summary judgment granted, and then no ruling, right? Um, yeah. I mean, he could just if the motion said if the summary judgment is granted, then that's it. Um, so it could just be over if that were granted, or the motion to dismiss could be granted, or it'll go to trial, and then see what happens. But if the judge grants the motion to dismiss, then it's dismissed, and that's the end of it. It seems less likely that that'll happen compared to the MSJ. In theory, it's a possibility though. Could always happen. What are you going on YouTube? What's going on over there? They scammed you into recycling. Why I blame everything on Bill Clinton. Major update in U.S. Supreme Court. Why Democrats' midterm strategy won't work. Spooky. Why the economy hasn't crashed yet. Hank Green. I do like that guy. That sound fake, but well documented. We got a lot of videos here and we could react to. What do you guys want to see me react to, eh? Any suggestions? Or anything y'all want to see me react to? I don't know. Or just cover. Why midterm won't work. Or watch that. Fuck it. Also probably boot up Hades to play as well. Give me a second. Go to the restroom, be right back, and we'll watch this. Fuck it. All right, I'm back. I'll just start playing this and then I put up Hades and shit.
Democrats need to pick up Senate seats this year, and they're trying to do it by replaying a past strategy. There's just one big problem. All right.
Is he AFK? I was AFK, CS, but I'm back now.
First, let's set the table here, because the Senate races this year are extremely important. Remember, right now, Republicans have a 53 to 47 seat majority.
Yeah. Chessbox TV says, holy moly, it's the best age year. Who's that? Who's the best age year?
In the Senate. So Democrats need to win 4 seats in order to win a majority. And while that's really important for the short term, winning the Senate would shut down Trump's judicial nominees, for example, it's also important longer term. As much as it may feel like Trump has been and will be president forever, he is leaving in less than 3 years. There will be a new president after 2028. And if it's a Democrat, it is crucial for him or her to have a Democratic Senate. Without it, their entire agenda is dead. And the 2028 Senate map is pretty tough for Democrats. There's only 1 Republican-held seat in a state Joe Biden won, Wisconsin, and 0 up in states that Kamala Harris won. Even if Democrats win the White House in 2028, they need to pick up at least some.
You? Oh my god, Chessbox TV. Thanks. Think I'm the best age year? Wow. Rogeezy says, I always assumed our strat was still in the House, not the Senate. Well, I mean, ideally, the strategy should be to win as many seats, period. But, you know. Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty much been known that it's very unlikely we win the Senate. But the House seems way more likely. Like, almost like guaranteed. Although probably it's definitely not guaranteed, but almost. So it says the only way he's leaving the office is in a casket. Not a threat. I genuinely believe if he goes out long, he's going to do everything to stay. Yeah, maybe. Depends. I see what you mean, though. So true, not a threat. You would never threat. Okay, hang on. Wait. I wasn't paying attention for a couple seconds because I was setting up the fucking thing. Does it look okay? Should I fucking adjust the overlay at all? Do you guys want the top part of the fucking thing, or I don't know? Let me know. Do you want the game to be smaller, bigger? I don't know. You guys tell me.
Are extremely important. Remember, right now, Republicans have a 53 to 47 seat majority in the Senate. So Democrats need to win 4 seats in order to win a majority. And while that's really important for the short term, winning the Senate would shut down Trump's judicial nominees, for example, it's also important longer term.
Oh, that's also another reason why it's really important, because all the judicial nominees that you can do, like, even just this week, I think a few were happening for certain seats.
As much as it may feel like Trump has been and will be president forever, he is leaving in less than 3 years. There will be a new president after 2028. And if it's a Democrat, it is crucial for him or her to have a Democratic Senate. Without it, their entire agenda is dead. And the 2028 Senate map is pretty tough for Democrats. There's only 1 Republican-held seat in a state Joe Biden won, Wisconsin, and 0 up in states that Kamala Harris won. Even if Democrats win the White House in 2028, they need to pick up at least some Senate seats this year to make sure they're close to the majority next cycle.
Yeah, that is true.
And that
okay, so that is true. We do need. We don't need it for. It's unlikely this year, but we definitely do need some this cycle in order to get it for 2028 and have a big majority. Just because of how many seats are up and stuff. So that's true.
Reason that Democrats have tried so hard to recruit good candidates in a lot of Senate races this year. Now, these candidates are not all alike. Some of them are much stronger than others, some of them have a much better shot than others. But they're all part of a clear strategy that has worked for Democrats before, and they're trying to replicate it again this year. Pop your collar and put on your skinny jeans. We're going back to 2006. In the lead up to the midterms that year, no one was really betting on Democrats to have an enormous year. They hadn't held the U.S. House for 12 years. They had failed to beat George Bush in 2004. They had lost ground in the 2002 midterms and the 2004 elections. So even though Bush was getting more unpopular, it wasn't clear that Democrats could really pull off a big victory. So they went with a new strategy. They would aggressively recruit different kinds of Democratic candidates, sabotage their opponents in the primary, and go on offense everywhere they could. In Pennsylvania, they recruited Bob Casey, an anti-abortion Catholic Democrat. In Missouri, it was Claire McCaskill, who was tough on illegal immigration.
Oh,
In
no.
Montana, they ran John Tester, who was pro-gun and pro-fossil fuel. In Ohio, it was
The two
staunchly
centrists.
anti-free trade,
The two
pro-union
libs.
Sherrod Brown. And all of them won, partly because the environment became really good for Democrats with Bush's unpopularity, but partly because they fit their states, culturally,
Sure.
demographically, and ideologically.
Which we want,
It
right?
was a really successful strategy, and it helped the guy behind.
You should pick the candidates that work for the states that they're in. If it means more centrist candidates, still a good thing, depending if those seats were unwinnable without them. But that's always going to be the case. Like, you want as left as you can be within reason or whatever.
Behind it, New York Senator Chuck Schumer began to climb the ladder that eventually made him Democrats' current Senate leader.
Oh, Chuck Schumer.
Now, Schumer wants to run that strategy again, and he has gotten some early success. In the past couple months, Democrats have gotten top-tier
It's all
candidates
just going to be Schumer bad or what? It's probably pretty cringe, but we'll see.
to run in a bunch of Senate races.
I mean,
in North
he's
Carolina,
no angel, for
former
sure.
Governor Roy Cooper, who won the governorship there twice while Trump won the state the same night, is now running for the state's open Senate seat. In Ohio, that guy we just mentioned, former Senator Sherrod Brown, who won in 2006, 2012, and 2018 before losing in 2024, is running again. Former Congresswoman Mary Peltola is running in Alaska. She represented the entire state. And in Maine, current Governor Janet Mills is running for the Democratic nomination to go against Susan Collins, who is the last senator in the country
Oh, this video's gonna be hutch fodder? Yeah, true.
representing a
True.
state that the other party has won the last 3 presidential election cycles. These candidates are all different, but the uniting thread is that Democrats think they are the best possible fit for their states. And because they're now all running, Schumer is now publicly predicting that Democrats will win the Senate majority outright in 2026. And he's explicitly comparing this year to 2006. There's just one small problem. The world has completely changed since then.
It's true, the world is
different parts of
different. That is true. The world is different now than 20 years ago. We'll see what he means.
country now vote more and more differently from each other. We've talked about this on this show a
Okay.
lot, but it really does bear repeating. The way Americans vote has radically changed over the past 20 years or so. Think about it this way. Say you have 5 people of different heights,
thinking about
and they average together to be 6 feet tall. It used to be that states' voting patterns were like this: 5'10", 6'2", 6 feet, 5'11", 6'1".
Okay,
Different
for
from
sure.
each other, but mostly close together. Now, it's more like this: 5'4", 6'6",
Whoa.
6'7", 5'7", 6.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute, wait a minute. What did he say?
It's more like this: 5'4", 6'6", 6'7", 5'7",
6'7". Oh my
6.
God, he
The
said
average is the same. Nationally,
said it.
we're still closely split between the parties.
I heard
But
it.
the individual contributors are much farther apart. Even the Senate races Democrats win are good examples of this. In 2010, New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand won her first Senate race by 27 points. The Republican won 8 counties, and the map looked like this. In 2018, she won by a larger margin, 34 points, but the Republican won 27 counties, and the map looked like this. And this is true all over the country. In 2018, Wisconsin Senator Tammy Baldwin won re-election by almost twice the margin she first won in 2012, but she won 7 fewer counties. In Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar won her first Senate election in 2006 by 20 points, and her Republican opponent won only 7 counties. 12 years later, she won by a larger margin, 24 points, but her opponent won 36 counties. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong or suspicious about this. Democrats have just lost ground in more rural, smaller areas.
Okay. So what he's saying is that losing counties, but losing the counties that don't have high populations. Okay, interesting.
So there's a lot more red on the map, because most of America's geography is those rural, smaller areas. Republicans have also lost ground in cities and suburbs. As a reminder, going from 30% to 20% in a city or metropolitan area represents millions and millions of votes. But that's mostly just made small blue dots go from medium blue to dark blue, which is much less noticeable on a map. This, of course, is where the look at all that red maps go viral. And Democrats
Oh,
are
yeah,
mostly
true.
right to roll their eyes
Third
at
party
those
shit,
memes.
yeah.
But when it comes to Senate races, there is something wrong with this. By the way, if you like what we're doing here, hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to support us. And if you like my work, you can subscribe to my newsletter at thelongrun.news.
Wait, so I wonder, is the argument going to be that you need to appeal more to rural voters, or that you should appeal less to them because they are already against? We'll see. I don't know. Secondly, you could get with that same data, you could get that two different conclusions in theory. Although he did start off by saying that they won their elections, but they won more voters but less counties. So I imagine he'll say that go left because those are the people that are in the cities. Could be a good argument.
Years, the number of states in which one presidential candidate won by 15 points or more has skyrocketed. In 1976, it was just 10. In the 1990s, it was fewer than 20. Then in the 2000s, it began to explode. By 2020, 30 states were decided by 15 points or more, even as national elections overall remain close. And the upshot of that is clear. Fewer and fewer states are truly competitive. More and more states are voting for one party or the other by landslide margins, which makes it super hard for a member of the other party to win Senate elections there. It's just fundamentally much more difficult for a Democrat to win a state Trump won by 30 points than one he won by 13, and vice versa. And because most of the country's...
Just pause. What's the specific take? Is election prediction in general a useful thing to do, or is it reading tea leaves? I mean, it's obviously super useful. I mean, in theory, it doesn't matter what the fuck I think about it, or this guy thinks about it. But it matters incredibly for, choosing candidates like this. Like, it'll matter to see, if you need to go, depending on your fucking electorate, how you need to campaign and shit. So, I mean, it matters, but depends on. I mean, you could be right or you can be wrong about it. So, I mean, I see what you mean about reading tea leaves, but fuck knows.
States are more rural, more white, and more conservative than the country overall. This gives Republicans a big boost in Senate races. And this is a crucial difference between 2006 and 2026. The pool of places in which both parties, and especially Democrats, have a credible path to competing is way smaller. And the path to winning is steeper, even if you do have great candidates. Secondly, Americans' views of politics have changed. This is something a couple people have pointed out. Schumer is trying to run the same strategy as 2006, even as the basic rules of politics have changed. Since 2006, Americans have twice elected a half-term black senator as president and twice elected a billionaire, who was the first person ever not to hold prior government office and win the presidency. The basic rules have changed, and they've changed largely because Americans have grown so disgusted and disillusioned with our political system that they're more and more willing to try something new. And if Democrats want to win, that might necessitate a different approach. Maine's Senate race is a good example of this. Establishment Democrats like Schumer recruited the incumbent governor, Janet Mills, into the race. And traditionally, incumbent governors are great Senate candidates. But she has some big limitations. She's been in politics for decades. She's 78 and would be the oldest freshman senator ever. And she's shown a streak of being closer to business interests, vetoing some things like labor protections or right to repair laws. In short, at a time when Americans hate the political establishment and political insiders, her profile is much closer to establishment than outsider. That's part of...
So, it's making the argument that you shouldn't do like center C candidates because people don't like center C establishment people, so you should do more anti-establishment lefty people. Here it is, an argument, and I think it's technically true in fucking Maine. At least that's how it's looking. So,
part of why she's in a tough primary against Bernie Sanders endorsed Graham Plattner, who's running on a progressive, populist platform. Now, Plattner has his own problems and limitations too, but there is a case to be made that in 2026, when Americans hate and distrust the establishment way more than they did in 2006, he is more the spiritual fulfillment of the 2006 strategy than Mills. Finally, and crucially, Donald Trump is, so far, not on George Bush's trajectory. As I said before, a key ingredient in Democrats' 2006 comeback was the perfect storm that emerged for Bush. Moderates and independents were only part of this. Bush was also declining a lot with Republicans. A lot of conservatives had also started to dislike Bush. He was spending a ton of money, racking up big deficits, and pushing immigration reform conservatives did not like. One poll in spring 2006 showed more than
Yeah?
a quarter of
So,
registered
like,
Republicans disapproving of Bush.
okay, this part you might
Another
just be
found
wrong about, because pretty sure every poll is showing that even Republicans are fucking souring on Trump bigly, so.
40% of conservatives disapproving of him. Unlike Trump, Bush simply did not have the inclination or the ability to tap into populist conservatism. That all meant that by the time the midterms came around, not only did Democrats, independents, and moderates really dislike Bush, but he also didn't have anyone loving him, riding hard for him, defending his record. Trump, however you feel about him, is not in the same position. He still has an incredibly passionate base. Might be a minority, but they provide Trump much more commitment and love and loyalty than Bush ever commanded. That's not to mention another crucial difference. We are not in the middle of two wars. This is something that is really worth remembering. In 2006, America was fighting two multi-trillion-dollar wars in which American soldiers were dying every day. Whatever you feel about Trump's second term, however much you might dislike or disagree with some of his actions, the reality is he has not gotten America into the same position. Striking civilians in the Caribbean or sending troops into Venezuela are, under any reasonable definition, acts of war. But they are not remotely...
Oh, shit, I am muted. Fuck. I said thanks, Magnus, for the follow.
Kinds of wars we were involved in back then. All of these factors opened up a path for Democrats to make the kind of populist America First argument that Trump himself would adopt a decade later. This time around, that's a lot harder. The rules have changed.
So this guy's saying about rural districts even matters since senators are elected by popular vote. Who cares about the color of districts? But what he's saying is that... No, what he's saying makes sense because what he said about rural districts was basically like... Because rural districts are going less against Democrats, but Democrats are still winning, therefore Democrats should lean into the sensibilities of like city, like Democrats versus trying to appeal to also rural people. Therefore, they should go more left. Kind of. That's kind of the argument that he's making. Seems reasonable. So it's at least a logically sound argument. But yeah, let's keep watching. I don't know. Trump does not have the sauce in midterms though. I mean, yeah, I think he's pretty cooked, but yeah.
Their opponent is stronger, less weighed down by wars, and he has a larger base of hardcore supporters.
So, like, yeah, Trump isn't weighed down by wars, but also he was weighed down by everything else, right? Like, economy, all the fucking ICE shit, all the fucking the Venezuela shit, the Iran shit, like, all this is still the case. So, tariff shit, like, yeah.
And that is something Democrats really need to take seriously. Maybe Americans really will agree with their argument that Trump is too distracted by other things, too focused on stuff abroad, and not focused enough on the economy here at home. Some polls recently are flashing alarm bells for Trump on this, showing majorities believe he doesn't care about people like them or know what they're going through. But even if the strategy ends up working for Democrats, the victory might still look a lot different from 2006. What do you think? Do you think Democrats actually have a shot at winning the Senate majority this year? What red state seat do you think is most likely to flip? Let me know in the comments below, and remember to hit
Yeah, I mean, a little retarded, but I mean, he's making a point, I think, you know? And it seems, at least in the case, in the example used of the Plattner versus Susan Collins, was it? Or Janet Mills? In Maine, that seems to be what's happening, so, you know, clickbait video, yeah, it was pretty clickbait. I mean, it wasn't that good. Got clickbaited. What? Billionaire doesn't know what you live like? No way. True. I can spell. True. You can spell, Magnus. I believe in you. Being anti-establishment is not a centrist versus left issue, IMO. Yeah. Yeah, true. It depends how you... I mean, it always depends how you do it. You could be anti-establishment and also... like a lib versus not like leftist or whatever. Could be like, well, a centrist, I think, that's like a moderate. You could be a moderate Dem and also be anti-establishment. I think that is possible. But it depends how it's communicated and shit. Because I think it's harder than just being anti-establishment and leftist versus or far right or center. Okay. See, Hank Green video on why the economy hasn't crashed yet, but it's 47 minutes. Could watch that. People value politicians that go against their party. I think I technically agree with you, but it depends. I think we'll have to see. Because somebody like Fetterman, like Fetterman's up in 2028, no? Fetterman. Just see Fetterman. It'll tell us in the Wikipedia, right? See, he's held since 2023. 6-year terms, so he was elected 22, so 6-year terms of 28. So he'll be up in 28. We'll know for sure then, right? Because he's the fucking whatever. But also, I mean, consider Joe Manchin lost his seat. Cinema lost her seat. So I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily agree. I think they are valued, but I don't know if it also just because politicians that go against their party are people that are also, if you have to go against your party to get elected, then it's also in a place that it could just go the other way for the other party. I think Don Colisha, what emotes does Kick have? Different ones. You'll learn. There's many. Angry video might be interesting. I don't know. I picked the last one. Yeah, it's interesting, but it's 48 minutes, so that's a maybe. What else do we got? Surprising presidential first. I do like a good Mr. Beat video. Doesn't sound fake, but are well documented. Could go non-politics. Stare. Oh wait, you linked something. What did you link? Magnus. What's this?
It's beautiful to see that you believe it.
Approval solo. They stopped tracking it by Big A Truck. Let's see. What do we got here? I won't put 2.5 it.
When President Rich release it, I feel like this type of thought has been wrong every step of this way. Every step of this way, someone like you comes in and says, they'll never release any of the files. And then we get thousands of them. And they're like, they'll never unredact any of them. And then Thomas Massey and Rokon are like pressuring, they get more. Like, people that do actions actually have made progress. And then every step of the way, people are like, well, nothing will ever happen. Like,
okay, he talks kind of fast. Let's just do it regular. Fuck it. What does that mean?
People that do actions actually have made progress. And then every step of the way, people are like, well, nothing will ever happen. Like, it's like, I think that's, I know what you're doing. You're protecting yourself. But like, it's not impossible to make progress. People have done it. The anger is causing a change. I'm more optimistic than I think some people are. And I have been for a while now.
We can do things.
I think we're seeing progress. By the way, just to like round this out, since the moment of Donald Trump's election, you can go back and watch my video and my clip from the same time, from the day of his election, when his polling was high and everyone was doomer in this chat. And I was like, dude, you flash forward a year, economic stuff alone is going to kill him. It's going to kill his popularity. And now...
Yeah, I mean... it wasn't a very hot take. Everybody knew because Trump was saying, oh, terrorists, the best word in the English language. And it's just not the case. So, yeah.
Now we are about a year later. His polling is so low, and the pressure he's put out on polling stations. Gallup today, after 88 years, stopped measuring presidential approval based on lawsuits he's doing to the parent company. He's under, I mean, he's like at generational lows. Like, people are broadly angry. His defenders are quieter than ever. Like, there are, of course, 25% of people that will support him no matter what. Of course. But, like, the idea that we should be like, well, nothing will ever be done because 20% of people. It's like, who? That's not a majority, bro. And they've lost their, any sort of, like, movement. Would you vote for Gavin Newsom, Elizabeth Vance? I'll answer this question easily. First step one is midterms this.
Oh my god, have you guys seen that fucking Twitter shit? Because Hassan fucking said that he wouldn't vote for Newsom versus JD Vance. Like, holy fuck, bro. Are you serious? What a fucking joke. What a fucking joke, man.
This year it needs to be a free and fair election. Otherwise, my entire world has to change. If I feel like this election is in some way, and I had a great question with Pete Buttigieg about this. I encourage you to watch it. If we get through this midterms with a free and fair election, and then then I'm confident about 28 being a real election. There's going to be a primary, and I hope the Democratic primary to challenge Vance or Rubio or Trump 3, whatever they run. I hope the primary is very competitive.
Cinema.
I hope we have real debates. I hope we get the candidates we know now, which is like Newsom, Buttigieg, AOC, and more. I hope there's candidates we don't even know.
Harris,
Again,
you
Bernie
forget
didn't
about
show up
her.
to 2016.
She like
candidacy,
leads every
so late.
fucking
I hope we get a
poll
lot
that
of candidates. I hope it's
comes out.
competitive. But after the primary, personally, me, based on
Yeah,
what
you
I've
vote
seen, and
whoever
I'm
it
mostly
is. No matter who it is, you vote for him. That's just fucking how it works.
economics guy.
Jesus.
After the primary, I'm locking the fuck in on whoever's chosen because I would like this administration to be out.
Blue
It
number
doesn't
who,
matter
unironically.
if it's Newsom, if it's Buttigieg, if it's AOC, if it's fucking Dwayne the Rock Johnson. I'm just telling you, that's what I've decided. I'm
Stephen A.
locking the
Smith.
fuck in. Because I have seen, even on a purely economics basis, that this administration is running my country into the ground. It is alienating every ally. The tariffs are fucking stupid. It is going to make people that I know poorer. My friends in Arizona are less likely to have jobs. It is going to be bad. It is bad. It's going to be worse.
It is.
So I'm going to lock the fuck in, even if it's someone that's just going to
Lock in, yo. Lock in.
maintain. Now, I've made my status clear, which is like, if you just try to go back to 2015 or whatever, pre-Trump, you're going to create another Trump. The conditions will create.
Easiest
That's the
one.
point. The conditions of what we had, which is like ever increasing
Also, yeah, Magnus, I think I heard about the Buttigieg thing, but yeah, I didn't watch it.
wealth gap, created Trump. Okay. However, what people don't seem to understand, or people think, maybe people voted in 24 kind of pissed me off, which is like people don't seem to understand the difference between bad and worse. It's like I
Yeah.
remember. This example.
Also, they're not bad. The Democrats are good, so yeah, it's another thing. People just Democrat bad, oh, both sides bad. But then, like, even if you think that both sides, like, one side is better than the other, no matter what.
I remember when Twitter got bought by Elon. I was like, Twitter kind of sucks, bro. Can't get much worse. I'm not an Elon
Really?
fan, but it can't get much worse. It did. It got way worse. It got significantly worse, like way worse. And like that is choices you have to make in life. It's never like, oh, the rainbow button that makes everything great, or the bad button that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Rainbow equals good? Huh. Fucking liberals, am I right?
you have to make real adult choices in life. You just have to do that. That's fucking life. And
Do they,
if
though?
I am living in a society
Do they,
where I have
though?
these two choices, I'm going to make after primary the one that I have to make because
Do they really have to make adult choices though, H-Rock? You sure about that? 'Cause they really don't want to. So.
there's just a livable difference for people. And I don't think that's difficult. And if people don't get that, I'm going to try my best over the next few years to make that more understandable to people because I think that's I think letting perfect be the enemy of good is fucking crazy. All that being said, I'm voting Trump for his third term.
Real.
I'm voting Trump 3 and really excited to see what he can do, turn it around. Maybe I'm overreacting, but the Japanese snap election sweep genuinely scares me more than the U.S. right now. Like Takaichi scares me with the again, I'm
But didn't a
economics
far
guy.
right
I gotta tell you that I view the world
president
through the lens of
win for
economics. The
Japan or
reason
some shit?
Takaichi's sweep in Japan is scary is because now that she has a supermajority and can overrule the Japanese constitution and make changes. Number
That's
one,
crazy.
they're going to remilitarize, which is the plan, which requires a lot of spending. Even if you don't, not even World War II, Japan getting remilitarized. Again, I think Japan right now is one of America's last few close allies, to be quite honest. I'm not worried about that kind of World War III, but I am worried about, from Japan's POV, they are already massively, massively in debt, most indebted country, first world country on earth. Her plan, her economic plan is stimulus. Just more printing, run it hot again. That's what they've been doing for decades.
Jesus.
The yen is as
Okay.
weak. I mean,
I think he's relatively moderate compared to Trump, I'll be honest. Yeah, probably, but I think it's not a hard bar. I don't know anything about it, but it seems like everybody was saying it, like the far right candidate won, but I don't know how far right she is.
yen to USD, but it's horrendous. Like the people of Japan are seeing their currency just shredded. Okay, and this is by the way to the USD. Look at yen to like franc, Swiss franc. USD is already weakening. But
Franc.
yen to like a real
Bro, these fucking French people and their fucking made up currency. Yeah, okay.
stable currency is like
Swiss,
collapsing.
same
Like it's
shit.
so
They're
understand
all
that
French
they
to
are
me.
going to try to run it hot where the currency is already weak. They're going to print and borrow and I think Japan is like at the end game, more so than any other country, and all the countries are in debt. Japan is like in the end game, bro. They're like out of options. They're reaching the point where interest payments start taking up all of their government budget. Like everything they're doing is just interest. And they're either having to print to shred the currency and go.
Yeah, bro's talking a lot about Japan, I'll be real. I don't care about the fucking Japan, bro. The US is in fucking shit right now. I don't have the fucking brain power to worry about other places.
Get near hyperinflation or not. Like they have terrible demographics. They have no real growth prospects. A lot of their big industries are getting undercut by China, like automotive. They're just in a bad spot. And so when countries are in that bad spot, they often turn to like anti-immigrant rhetoric. Like that's what's happening. It's happening in soft places all over, but it's happening heavily in Japan. You're joking about Trump in his third term, but how big are the chances Trump is going to win? Me personally, I don't think there's a chance. It's not zero, which is shocking. But I think my honest assessment is that the last gasp for them
What's up, CPU? What's up, Lexer? Good to see you.
to do something truly crazy like that is this midterms. Because every 6 months, this movement that Trump is weaker. It has fewer allies, more rats flee the sinking ship. You know what I'm saying? This midterms is like the last real shot to fucking break the election. After this midterms, if they're like, especially if they get swept at the midterms, I think it's actually like people are super afraid to do any crazy shit like that with him because then they don't think he'll win. They think it's a loss. So I think he's nearing the end of the shelf life. There's a real shot he doesn't make it to the end of the 4 years.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. The unhappiness Americans
Wait, you mean second term, right?
are already feeling, but are going
Fourth
to
year.
keep feeling
Yeah.
as there's more AI job displacement, as there is more economic recessionary job loss, as these debt cracks start to show. Again, we have way more bankruptcies rising.
Good to see streaming as well. What's the TLDR for the filing? Basically, they really want to argue that they couldn't have done a motion to compel or a motion for spoliation or any of that without deposing Destiny, since they weren't able to depose Destiny because Pixie didn't show up for her deposition, so the court stayed his deposition that they need extra time for discovery and therefore no summary judgment should be granted because they for sure are going to be able to find something that will help them. For sure. For real. That's TLDR. Magnus says, I think this fiscal arguments in Japan is canary in the coal mine for what happens in the US if it doesn't turn its deficit around. Maybe. If they're being regarded. Yeah, pretty much, Lester. Pretty much.
We have people
What's
taking
new?
on massive credit card debt starting in forever, but in December of last year, that's coming due this year. We have student loans that are, all this shit is like starting to break regular people's economic lives.
Your response on that BS? It technically wasn't a response. It turns out it was a motion to deny, which is a different thing because also they're asking if their motion to deny is denied, then they want 2 weeks to get a response to the motion for summary judgment. It's a motion to deny summary judgment, Rule 5060 or some shit. So in theory that could get denied, and then also they don't get a response in theory, but they also wasted the response because they have nothing. So they're asking, please, we can't respond because we don't actually have anything. Yeah, it's pretty fucking stupid. Your title was clickbait. My bad, Flexer, my bad. Clickbait. I clickbait you.
And they're only going to get angrier. And I'm talking about people that don't give a shit about anything we're saying socially. People that don't care about ICE, people that don't care about even the Epstein stuff. There's like a ton of people that are getting angrier and angrier because they are noticing their paycheck is not keeping up with the fucking...
You need to amend that 2 weeks in between, or is that up to the judge? Technically it's up to the judge, but I would imagine it seems pretty reasonable. They had satellite cases where it's explicitly said that the way that they did it, the motion to deny, is an alternative to a reply. And that, although I technically don't think they said that it was usual that they would then get an extra reply, but no. Fuck knows. I mean, they could ask for it. It's technically not a demand, they're just asking. In theory, it could be denied, and then they're just fucked. Who knows?
cost of living. They can't get fucking, not even a house, let alone that. They can't afford rent. They can't afford groceries. They can't afford insurance. When they look for jobs, there's no good jobs. It takes forever to search. They're doing more gig work. The gig work is extra competitive. Like, that is what's happening. And people are getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And these are just people that have no care about most political stuff.
Damn.
But the Dow is 50,000 points. I don't know if you guys know.
The Dow's 50,000.
I know that was
guys.
on one hand, imagine that, but the Dow's over 50K.
Just think
We
about
are
it,
in a
guys.
bit of a golden age.
Oh no, I missed it. Mitchell Blackmore. Oh no. It's okay, you can rewind the VOD on YouTube, guys. If you missed it and you want to know what happened in the filing, you can rewind. I should change my stream title, actually, so people don't get confused. It's actually a good idea. What did I change it to? Reacting to videos plus Hades. Just call it that. Fuck it. Alright, change that, change there. Reacting to videos plus Hades. And then I don't think, how can I change it on YouTube again? Edit video. Title, reacting to videos plus Hades. Yeah, I think that worked. Alright. No more clickbait. Are you happy, Lexer? I hope you are. I did just for you. Okay.
My dad keeps sending me pics of his 401k going up and saying we have the greatest economy ever and gets angry when I say things feel terrible for me. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that just because that is a wild thing for a dad to do. Just to mock you with his 401k.
Son, my 401k is up. Wow.
I do wish people in that position understood. And look, I don't think it's yeah, you know, I can't make up your mind for you. I don't think it's the appropriate reaction to be like perma-doomer. I think there's shit you can do. There's always ways for you to like make the best of a situation and try to, it's just a better attitude to have. But people in his situation need to be less fucking out of touch and just understand that like the job market in general is not what they remember. It's just not. I don't know how people don't. I feel like I should have everything to make me out of touch. So if I can see it, what, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made a fuck ton of money on gold. I should be like, just do that. But like, it's,
made money on
I can
gold?
just talk to fucking 5 people that I know who I went to college with. And they can like, it's just so easy to see. Like, hey man, it's way fucking different than it was even 10
You're
years ago.
fixing the bait. You're welcome, Vlexer. Okay, I fixed the bait just for you.
Way different. People that I know that are super talented. People that worked at Twitch. People that worked at, not necessarily NVIDIA, because almost no one there ever leaves. I feel like I'm the only person I know that quit NVIDIA. Everyone stays because they cling because the stock is so good. But people at Twitch, for example, they're like, bro, I mentioned a guy I know that got laid off from Meta. That's a guy that like is doing better than the average American. That guy had a great job, high total comp. He got laid off from Meta. He cannot find a fucking even comparable job. He can't do it. He has a great resume. And it's like, look around, you know what I'm saying? That shit is scary. I wish people understood that. Like, it's like, people are trying. People are radically different than other generations.
Crazy.
Try.
It's crazy times we live in, y'all. Okay, let me finish this and I'll put the next video on. Okay. Alright. What now? I had a couple other things open.
So, let's start.
Who's first?
What do we want to watch? Hank Green, Mr. Beat, just random non-politics shit. What else do we got? What else could we watch? I've seen these kids. Mockler Natalie Winters, full episode. Diversified now, but investing in gold because central banks are in the world buying gold and selling USD, not because of the classic gold bug arguments. I see. Is that Mike? Play YouTube games. Mike? Who's Mike? Huh? Fuck is Mike? Mike Hawk? YouTube games. How do you see these YouTube games? Hang on. What do you see more? There's some ball blast. Swipe to shoot. sick. Holy shit. Is it again? Oh no. Okay, I got it this time. This time for sure. Okay. Shit is so awesome, dude. I love YouTube games. You're the YouTube game enjoy. Oh no. Okay, this shit is retarded. Thanks for the suggestion, though, Lux. Jesus. Okay, let's watch the fucking Mr.
First,
video.
who's on first? Oh, good job writing the first comment underneath this video. You know who I'm talking about.
Who was it? Well, it's no first.
But yeah, I'm Mr. Beat, and I've never been first place at anything. Although, as far as I'm aware, I think I am the first person to ever live stream myself calling every senator in the country, so there's that. But this video is not about senators.
Wow.
This video is about presidents. American presidents. Every president probably was the first to do and be something, but in this video, let's look at the more interesting and historically significant stuff. And if they were the first and only to do something or be something, well, I left that out. In fact, that might just be a future video. Let's start with the ultimate first.
Huh.
George Washington, the first
First
president
one?
of the United
He did
States. Obviously. And being the first president, he was unavoidably the first president to do a bunch of stuff.
Literally anything.
I mean, we could get pretty boring here if you wanted to start talking about routines and everyday activities. For example, I'm almost certain that George Washington was the first president to ever pick his nose and fart. Nah, Joseph. Let's focus on the big stuff. Washington was the first to go uncontested in an election, the first to be inaugurated twice, the first to serve a full term, well, 2 full terms, and the first to voluntarily step down after 2 terms, setting a precedent that lasted until Franklin Roosevelt messed it up. But yeah, Washington was the first to issue a veto, an executive order, a pardon. He was the first to sign a bill into law, yada yada. I shouldn't have to go into all that.
Now you know this, man!
John Adams, the first vice president. He was also the first vice president to become president. He was the first president with a vice president from an opposing political party and the first president to live in the White House. He and his wife, Abigail, apparently moved in even though it was still under construction at the time. Adams was the first president with biological children. He was the first president to have never served in the military and to not veto any bill. Oh, and I know this is still a sore spot for John Adams, but he is also the first president to lose re-election. He lost to his vice president. Thomas Jefferson. Well, Jefferson was the first president to have previously been a governor. There'd be 16 presidents after him who were also governors. He was also the first Secretary of State to become president. 5 presidents after him were also in that position. He was the first president inaugurated in Washington, D.C., and the first to have an inaugural parade. And with the Louisiana Purchase, he was the first president to expand the country's borders. James Madison, the first president to ask Congress to declare war on another country. Congress said yes, by the way. That was the War of 1812, and thus Madison was also the first president during wartime. He was the first president to have his vice president die in office. George Clinton. No, not that George Clinton. I'm really getting tired of this, okay? And finally, Madison was the first of 19 presidents to serve in the U.S. House of Representatives. James Monroe, the first president to serve as a U.S. Senator. There'd be 16 presidents after him who were also U.S. Senators at some point. He was also the first president to ride on a steamboat, and he was the first president to have one of his kids married at the White House.
Steamboats? Oh my god.
John Quincy Adams, the first president elected despite receiving fewer than a majority of electoral votes and fewer votes than one of his opponents. Ah, snappity snap. Adams was the first of 2 presidents to have a dad who was also the president. He was also the first president to be photographed, although this photograph of him that you're looking at right now was taken several years after he left office. He was the first to have shorter hair and facial hair. And finally, Adams was the first president to not be a founding father. Andrew Jackson. I'll start with one you have probably heard before. Jackson was the first president born in a log cabin. Believe it or not, 7 American presidents were born in log cabins. Jackson was the first to face assassination attempts. He was also the first to ride a train. Come on, ride a train and ride it. And although the evidence is shaky, Jackson apparently was the first president to have a tattoo. Say,
Yo,
do you want to see my tattoo?
He's tatted up?
Martin Van Buren. The first president born after the United States became a country. After he left office, he'd be the first president to run for a second non-consecutive term. That was with the Free Soil Party, making him also the first president to run for president with a third party, William Henry Harrison. The first president to die while in office. And sadly, that's all he's often known for. But hey, he was also the first president to serve less than one full...
Do you have any tattoos, Zip? No. But I'd like one. I'm too non-committal. I can never come up with something that I would, like, for sure want on my body, you know? Forever? Like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? I feel that. Do you have any flexor? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, what if I don't want that on my body anymore? I'm too non-committal.
Full term.
No, for the same reason. There you go. Exactly. But I would get one.
In office. So wait, he was also the first president to have a photograph taken of him while in office. No, that's not it. That's a photo of a painting of him taken 9 years after he died. The photo of him is actually lost, and I still haven't found it.
They lost the photo?
Hey, did you know that I get death threats? True story. I guess it's because I have opinions sometimes that some people disagree with. Anyway, due to this, in recent years, I've really stepped up my personal privacy efforts online. Gotta make sure the unstable folks can't look up my personal information. Stuff like my address or phone number. And one of the best ways I've found to prevent this from happening? Delete me. Delete Me proactively removes our home address, phone numbers, and family details from the internet. What I like about Delete Me is that it sends you these personalized privacy reports showing what they found, where they found it, and what they deleted. I've been using it for several years at this point, and it's done a really good job scrubbing my personal information from all kinds of messed up sites out there. Protect your personal information and your family's personal information by going to joindeleteme.com/MrBeat. If you use that link or this QR code right over here, you can get 20% off Delete Me consumer plans. Once again, that's joindeleteme.com/MrBeat. The QR code's over here. Make sure you use code MrBeat at checkout to get that 20% off, okay? Thanks to Delete Me for sponsoring this video. John Tyler, the first president to just become president despite not being elected president. After William Henry Harrison died, there was actually a bit of a crisis since the Constitution didn't explicitly say who takes over as president if a president dies in office. Well, Tyler, being the vice president, took it upon himself to just take over. Tyler was also the first president to lose his wife while in office and then remarry while in office. James Polk, the first president to be under the age of 50 upon entering office. He was the first president to not seek re-election. True to his promise, he left office after his one term ended and then promptly died. Zachary Taylor, the first president who had never been elected to any office before becoming president. Not even class president.
Wait, that's a thing? You probably couldn't do that today. That's crazy, though.
For reals. But here's a more obscure fact. Taylor was the first president to be in office when his own political party, the Whig Party, didn't have a majority in either House of Congress. Millard Fillmore, the first president to establish a permanent White House library. That's about it. Oh, he apparently was also the first president to install a kitchen stove in the White House.
Whoa.
So there's that.
Stoves.
Franklin Pierce. All right, if we're going to keep this theme going, he was the first president to have central heating installed at the White House and bring a Christmas tree into the White House. Pierce was also the first president to have multiple vetoes overridden by Congress. You thought I was going to say multiple wives. No, multiple vetoes.
Bro, imagine using your veto and then it gets overridden. Like, you just cooked at that point. Why would you even do it? What's the point, bro?
Overridden by Congress. What kind of channel do you think this is? James Buchanan, the first president to serve in the military but not become an officer in the military. Yeah, that's all I got about Buchanan. Abraham Lincoln, the first president assassinated. Yeah, man. Did you hear about that? After this, he was the first president to lie and state in the Capitol.
Tell me not for the first time.
Little rotunda. Lying in state, by the way, just means the body of a dead, distinguished person is placed in a state building so that the public can pay their respects. But also, Lincoln was the first president born outside of the original 13 colonies, the first to have pet cats, and the first with a full beard. Andrew Johnson, the first president impeached.
Based in
He
beard
escaped
pill?
conviction by just one vote. Serious stuff. But here's a more lighthearted one. Johnson was also the first president to welcome an organized baseball team to the White House. Ulysses Grant, the first president to create a national park. That would be Yellowstone National Park, which still exists today. Heck yeah. Grant was also the first president to host a Native American chief at the White House and the first to host an official White House state dinner. After leaving office, he was the first president to publish his memoirs. Rutherford Hayes. Hello? Oh, yeah? Hayes was the first president to have a telephone installed at the White House? Thank you. Bye.
Oh.
He was also the
Because he used the telephone for it. Get
first to hold the White House Easter egg roll and serve Thanksgiving dinner at the White House. And believe it or not, Hayes was the first president to visit the west coast of the United States while in office. James Garfield, the first president to die before the age of 50. Garfield was also the first president to deliver a campaign speech in a language other than English. That was a speech he gave completely in German to around 5,000 people on October 16, 1880. Chester Arthur,
no.
first president to weigh over 200 pounds. Oh, that can't be the only first we have for Chester. Oh, he was also the first president to have an elevator installed at the White House. Those two things might be related.
Easy W.
Grover Cleveland, the first president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. Yeah, you know who the other one is. Cleveland was also the first president to be filmed
Yeah. We know who the other one is.
in a short motion picture. In 1895, Alexander Black filmed Cleveland as he signed a bill into law. I couldn't find the footage, though. Benjamin Harrison,
Damn.
the first president to wear a modern necktie. Yeah, like this one.
Whoa.
I hate neckties so much. Anyway, Harrison was also the first president to
it's
install
alright.
electric lighting in the White House.
What's wrong with neckties?
William McKinley, the first president to ride in an automobile.
Damn. Oh.
A car. That's a car.
Oh, a car.
For you youngins out there. And apparently McKinley was the
Right.
first president to own a bike. Theodore Roosevelt, the first sitting president to travel outside of the country. I'm not kidding. It took that long. Roosevelt was also the first president to ride in a submarine. The first to fly in an airplane. He was the first president to call the White House, the White House. Roosevelt was the first president to get work done in the West Wing, a separate building he had built
I like
just
the
next to the
show.
White House, west of
Interesting factoid. Bill Clinton was the first black president. I'm sure we'll get to that.
the White House, as a
It's
matter
true.
of fact.
Very true.
West Wing.
He was the first to issue more than 1,000 executive orders. And finally, Teddy was not only the first president, but first American to be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. William Howard Taft. Taft was the first of 2 presidents buried at Arlington Cemetery, the other being John F. Kennedy. The first president to throw out a ceremonial first pitch at a baseball game. Taft went to multiple Major League Baseball games while in office.
Really
He was the
like
first to play
baseball.
golf while in office. Yeah, there he is. Taft was also the first president to work in the Oval Office, a literally circle room in the
Did not subscribe to Mr. B. Whoa. My bad. This is my stream account, okay? On my regular account, I am definitely subscribed.
aforementioned West Wing. Woodrow Wilson,
Shithole.
the first president to
Chill on me.
hold regular press conferences. Wilson was the first sitting president to travel to Europe. And he was the first president to declare a national emergency. He did this on February 5th, 1970.
I'm supposed to be reading chat. This was a test, so let me catch you again. This was ironed out with your predecessor, Rin Lux, okay? I got the chat open. I don't read it, though. Except somebody like Bing.
17
Bing
in
me.
response to what was going on at sea due to World War I. Warren Harding, the first president ever
Not Bing
heard
me.
on the
Actually,
radio.
Bing you.
He was the first president to learn how to drive a car. And apparently, he was the first president to use the term founding fathers, which is pretty crazy. Calvin Coolidge, the first president to ever give a radio address from the White House. And the first to be sworn into office by another president.
But sure, I won't do it again, Bing. Don't worry.
Herbert Hoover, the first president born west of the Mississippi River. Hello? What's that? Oh yeah? He was also the first president to have a telephone on his desk? Huh. Well, how about that? Yeah, I know this phone isn't hooked up to anything. It's a gag. A lame gag.
It's a good one. I like the gag.
Franklin Roosevelt.
Good
Oh, I
gag.
got a lot of ones for FDR. Understandably. He was the first president to appear on television, the first sitting president to fly on an airplane. In fact, he was the first president to fly in an airplane across the ocean.
Wait, wait a minute.
Understandably. He was the first president to appear on television, the first sitting president to fly on an
Why do you say sitting president like that? Why do you do that?
airplane. In fact, he was the first president to fly in an airplane across the ocean. He was the first sitting president to travel to 3 different continents: South America, Asia, and Africa. Roosevelt was the first president to be named Times Person of the Year. And finally, FDR was the first to establish a presidential library. Harry Truman, the first president to go bowling at the White House, of course.
Whoa.
Also, the first to have a nationally televised inauguration. Dwight Eisenhower, the first president to be in office when the country had 50 states. Eisenhower was also the first president to play football in college. Yeah, incredibly, there were 4 other presidents who played college football. Eisenhower was the first president to
Football
ride in a
enjoyers.
jet and a helicopter. He was the first to hold a televised news conference. And finally, Eisenhower was the first president to appear on color television. John F. Kennedy,
Wow.
the first president to be Roman Catholic. He was the first president to meet a championship team at the White House. That was the Boston Celtics in 1963. Kennedy was the first president to use the Situation Room, which is actually a 5,000 square foot complex on the ground floor of the West Wing of the White House and used ever since to deal with any major crisis that pops up. Lyndon Johnson. LBJ was the first president to visit Australia. He
I get my Obama button ready.
was also the first to use a presidential call button, a way to call aides quickly to the Oval Office. Richard Nixon, the first president to visit all 50 states. Nixon was also the first to attend an NFL game while in office. Gerald Ford. Here's a couple of weird ones that probably don't automatically come to mind. Ford was the first president to testify in a criminal trial. He was also the first president to release a full medical report to the public. Jimmy Carter, the first president born in a hospital, believe it or not. He was also the first president.
Now you can't say I'm not an Oiler? Wait, why? How come? Did you sub or something? Oh shit, Vluxer gets a sub to Magnus. Holy shit. Thanks, Vluxer. Wow. W Oilers. Appreciate it. Everybody say thank you, Vluxer. Wow, what a guy.
President to install computers in the White House. Carter was the first president to host the freaking Pope. That was Pope John Paul II.
I will never say that you're not an Oiler, Vluxer. Never again.
In 1979. Ronald Reagan. I know we're used to them now, but our first truly old man president. Reagan was the first president to first get elected over the age of 70. He was the first to attend the Olympics and a NASCAR race, and he was the first president to temporarily give up his powers as president under the 25th Amendment. On July 13th, 1985, Reagan let his vice president, George H.W. Bush, fill in for him while he had colon cancer surgery. George H.W. Bush, the first president to pardon a turkey, sparking this weird tradition right before Thanksgiving that has happened ever since. And
He did that first? For some reason I imagined that was like a fucking old thing, that like esoteric fucking ritual that's, but no, it's just a thing. Huh.
and that's all I got for Bush.
Strange.
Just the turkey thing. Bill Clinton, the first president to use the internet and send an email while in office. He was also the first president to stream his inauguration over the internet.
He streamed, the first streamer president, Bill Clinton. Holy shit, another interesting factoid for you, Vluxer, about Bill Clinton. He's also Reform Orthodox rabbi. It's true. That's what he is.
And send an email while in office. He was also the first president to stream his inauguration over the internet. Clinton was also the first to attend an NHL hockey game while in office. And he was the first boomer president.
Boomin'.
And the boomers have been in power ever since.
True.
George W. Bush, the first president to ever have a State of the Union live broadcast on the internet. And he was the first president to attack another country in the so-called War on Terror. Barack Obama, the first African-American president. More specifically, he was the first president to be multi-ethnic, with his father being from Kenya and his mom being from Kansas.
W multi-ethnicism. Is that a word? Multi-ethnicism? Huh. We've had live streamer presidents since the 90s. True. They're all streamers.
Obama was also the first president born outside the 48 contiguous states. He was the first sitting president to travel north of the Arctic Circle and the first to visit a federal prison. Crazily enough, he was the first sitting president to attend an NBA game and appear on a podcast.
That's
Donald
a real
Trump.
right there.
I mean, there's a lot of firsts with
First podcaster president too. Holy shit! Wait, I missed it. Obama.
this dude too. But since he's such a unique president, maybe some of these will be onlys? Trump is the first president to launch his own cryptocurrency, the first to own a social media platform,
bro.
the first to be banned from a social media platform, the first billionaire
First president to be banned off social media. Oh, brother.
president, the first to attend a UFC competition while in office, the first to have children from 3 different wives, the first to pardon a corporation, and the first to have a personal YouTube channel reach 1 million subscribers. Yeah, he may be the only president to do all that.
God, I hope so. Please.
Joe Biden, the first to join a picket line while in office. He was the first to get the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the first to become a great-grandfather while in office. And yeah, I should note that Biden had the first female vice president in American history.
I know her.
Kamala Harris. Well, that's it. Let me be the first to tell you, thanks for watching this video. And now it's time for my approximately monthly shout out to all my Patreon supporters who donate at least
D Zop Zep Strem. Yay. Thanks, Moxie, I think. Is that a good thing? Yeah. Great grandfather president cooked. I mean, he was old. It is known. He was in fact very old.
Least $15 or more each month to my channel, starting with my biggest donors in reverse order alphabetically. Thank you to Zachary Pascalar, Sean Connett, Robin Tooley, Raquel Jones, Ralph W.K., Patrick Stewart, Pat Iapicca, Nick Everett, Michael Bolick, Mater Tenenbaum, Little Lufa, Joe Cook, Jesus Carrillo, Jeremy Dunham, Empty Machine, Elias Pierce, Corey Ryman, Clayton Carlisle, Chums McGuffey, Chris McKinnon, Carissa Ledesma, Brennan Fletcher, Austin Ciros, Anthony Beckett, Andrew B., Alicia Solberg, Zachariah Parker, Victor McLean, Ty Marwitz, TC, Steve Bryan, Salty, Ralph, Nathan Hale, Naderade, Michael Burt, Josh, Jacob Birnbaum, Jack L., Grant Gagaza, Fame and Fortune Guaranteed in the State of Kentucky, Emily Glover Wilson, Andrew Snyder, Adam Christians, and Alan Hines. Thank you to all my Patreon supporters and channel members, and thank you for staying curious.
All right. W Mr. B. Good video.
Start.
I learned a lot. Okay, what do we want next? Watch this hankering thing. This non-political president thing. What did I say? Wait, did you say something that got automated? You said fuck term limits, they're retarded. It was probably just the word retarded that got you automated. Your constitutional age limitations, voting, and running for office. Oh, age limits on voting and running for office. We already have a lower bound for this shit, so why not an upper bound? Well, because old people still... I personally don't care, because if you don't want them, then don't vote for them, but the reason to not have an upper bound is because... The lower bound is because those people, for different reasons than you would have an upper bound. Old people do still contribute to society, or do still participate in society, yada yada yada. It's not just because, like, brain reasons that young people don't have votes or whatever. But true. Vluxter, now that I gifted a tier 5 sub, can I become mod? Do you gift a tier 5 sub? Is it a regular sub? I don't know if that's how that works. Fuck it, I'll give you mod, Vluxter. You've been campaigning for it for quite a while. I don't know how to give you mod, though. How do I do that? How do I give you mod? I don't know how to give somebody mod. Moderation? Access. I don't know how to give somebody mod. Roles, moderators, Vluxter. I'll give you mod. There, Vluxter. I think you got mod. Congratulations, Vluxter. The first ZipZip45 mod. W Flexer, guys. Magnus said, anyone above 82 should probably not run. At that point, we usually treat older people the same as children. If someone above 82 wants to run, they can run. But if they show themselves to be too old, then ideally people wouldn't vote for them. If people still vote for them, it's because they didn't care that he was that old. That's just the fact of the matter. Simple as that, I guess. Minus use the emote for me, please. Anyways, a century minus 18, which is the lower bound for voting, would be 82 bank. Eh. I don't see the need for it, but I get it. What emotes there? Beware Magnus is a little dog with a cone hat. Oh, Temmydink. Should use Temmydink, Magnus. No, you give us up, you can do that. Flexer, are you able to, as moderator, add emotes? If you want to add emotes, you can. I don't know what to add, though. I think I only added one. I think that was like the first day I added Temmydink. I think it's Temmydink with an E, Magnus, as well. But I don't know. You could open the menu and do it. Okay, what video are we watching next? What do we want to watch? Watch either of these two, or something else. I don't know. What do you want? I'm on mobile right now, but I'll check when I go home. Oh, you don't have to, Flexer. I gave you mod because you asked for it, not because you got to do anything. So don't worry about it. Company scammed you into recycling. What's this Adam Walkley thing? Does anybody know anything about this? It's Adam Walkley.
New media for a new world. This week on Firing Line.
All right, listen up. It's time to talk about it. There is a direct path for the Democratic Party to...
Adam Mockler, 23.
Direct party for the Democratic Party to what? Why didn't they let him finish the sentence? What the fuck? Okay,
Is an analyst of American politics with more than 1.8 million
Holy
YouTube
shit,
subscribers.
the
If we
Mockler.
compromise on the fundamental core that is MAGA, then
Natalie Winters, 24, is co-host of Steve Bannon's podcast,
Oh
The
my
War Room,
God,
and has a
bro,
White House
who
press
is
pass,
this?
one of the MAGA-adjacent influencers new to the White House press corps.
Oh my
They joined me
God.
at Hofstra University for a discussion about covering politics in the digital age.
We are now in a post-factual
We gotta
reality
own
where we
this
can't even
fucking
agree
shit.
on fundamental things like, did this person win this election? Is COVID real? So it just really bothers me when people are in high positions of power and spreading lies and aren't getting fact-checked.
This notion of
Oh,
fact check, I think
brother.
we use very
This is gonna
loaded
be
terms
retarded.
that connote this sort of agnostic sense.
Wait, do you think the term fact check is loaded?
100%.
Oh, this might be peak. This might be peak. Hang on. It might just be peak.
Political commentators Adam Mockler and Natalie Winters say now.
Firing
What
Line
did they
with
say?
Margaret Hoover is made possible in part by Robert Granieri, Vanessa and Henry Cornell, the Fairweather Foundation, the Tepper Foundation, Peter and Mary Calico, Pritzker Military Foundation, Cliff and Laurel Asness, and by the following.
Natalie Winters, Adam Mockler. Welcome to Firing Line here at Hofstra University in front of a student audience. It's wonderful to welcome you both
Wow.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
here. You are both online political phenomenon. Adam, you host the Adam Mockler Show on YouTube, which has a subscribership of more than 1.8 million subscribers. Natalie, you are the co-host of Steve Bannon's War Room. At the ripe age of 24, and you, at the ripe age of 23, have garnered almost unprecedented mainstream media attention and digital media attention. This is a time, as you guys know, of really intense disruption in media, and each of you, in your massive
Flexer, what does Adam low-key look like JD Vance? No? I don't think he looks like JD Vance at all. You think so?
followings, have developed a degree of trust with your audience at a time when trust in media has plummeted. Why do your audiences, and I'm going to go to both of you,
Well, for the MAGA chick, it's because MAGA are retarded and a cult. So that's an easy one, but
why do they trust you? Natalie, you go first.
Well, I think it's not just that we cover issues that Americans actually care about in a way that's truly
bro saying we.
factual, but we cover the issues
Yeah, we cover issues in a way that's factual.
that I think for so long
For sure,
legacy
bro.
media has just routinely ignored. I think you can sort of see the convergence of that with what President Trump talked about in 2016, which was immigration, trade deals, and the idea that our government should actually work to
hell
represent
no.
us and not be importing a sort of class of foreign workers, depressing our wages, and just, I think, destroying what it means to be an American. It's the idea that Americans are not allowed to care about certain issues, or they're, demeaned as nativist, xenophobic, racist, every ist or ad hominem attack in the book. And I think War Room, I think sort of alternative, at least conservative media,
Not the isms.
actually says
Amazing.
no. It's okay to care about wanting to be an American and not having your government replace you with a bunch of foreigners.
Adam, what do you do that has developed trust with your viewers?
I think in this new age of media, where mainstream media is losing viewership and people are migrating to digital media, people are looking for authenticity. The Democratic Party, which I oftentimes represent in my videos, has built up a reputation of being a few things: risk-averse and a little bit finger-waggy in people's faces, always trying to tell people what to say or what not to say, right? So as somebody in this Democratic sphere, I try to bring an authentic view. People don't always want to see me in suits on TV like I am now. Sometimes I'm just in my bedroom telling it how it is, saying what the story of the day is, and that is authentic.
He says it how it is, guys. Real.
To people.
And
People
that's
really
helped
like
you
that.
build trust?
I think the authenticity has helped me build
The
trust.
T-shirt helps you build trust.
In a way, absolutely. It feels like we come at an angle that mainstream media oftentimes fails to come at.
The concern older people have, I will speak for older people, right? No, but the concern, right, is that in the old world, there were journalistic standards at mainstream media organizations attempting to discern what the truth is and correct the record if you got it wrong. And this notion, which may seem antiquated, of journalistic standards. So in the context of the digital media spaces where both of you exist, what kind of standards do you adhere to as you go about gathering information and disseminating it?
Most of my work is directly quoting, whether it's government grants. A lot of my early research had to do with Chinese Communist Party infiltration. I would spend hours in deleted web pages going to the translated web page versions and just quoting the Chinese
What the fuck is she talking about?
Communist Party, as is these foreign influence groups, the Americans that they were meeting with. I've always just done primary raw source reporting and have carried through. It's indisputible.
So how do you characterize the standards that you hold yourself to?
I just report the truth, and I think that
she just tells the truth. She just says how it is, man. I mean, come on.
But I think that all this focus on
What do you want to
standards, I
say?
think, is sort of this bureaucratic kind of, not gotcha, but where it's all about imposing this sort of idea that in order for a story to be accurate, it has to be fact-checked, it has to be peer-reviewed, it has to have this whole kind of editorial.
It doesn't.
For it to be a good story, it has to be real. True. Holy shit. Oh, you know, fucking based. Queen. What a queen. This is fucking...
It has to be fact checked? I mean, you just said you spend a lot of time
Unbelievable.
finding facts.
They're just facts. The fact that this notion of a fact check, I think we use very loaded terms that connote this sort of agnostic sense.
Wait, do you think the term fact check is loaded?
100%.
Tell me why.
It was a construct that was created by this sort of anti-disinformation industry, which I
Guys, fact checks are a social construct. Real. Holy fuck, man. What a fucking...
We should be against
Factual.
disinformation. We should be.
This is a joke.
Actually,
This is a
tell me
joke.
about this
It's not real.
disinformation industry.
But I think
'cause we should unpack
definitions
that.
matter here.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Because
the
I think
simulation.
all of our definitions of disinformation
Right.
would differ. Fact checking is great. We should check facts, but I think it's important to understand who is actually doing, because I think there's a weaponization of these terms, that there's this implied neutrality, that the people who are checking your facts are people who have no bias.
But then
and
is
that's
it
not true.
Why? Who the fuck? Like, you're retarded if you think, like, you're just retarded if you think that. Like, the whole point is that despite, like, in journalism, you can have a bias and yet still say true things. Like, it's just how it works. Like, what the fuck?
I think you make a very fair point. So then, to quote Daniel Patrick Moynihan, a former Democratic senator who said, you know, everybody is entitled to their own opinions, but not their own facts. I mean, is it the
Yeah, facts don't care about your feelings, a loser. Like, it's that simple.
case then that we might actually agree on a set of facts, consistent facts
Sure.
that we can then debate?
But the point of fact checks, they have really only ever been weaponized to pull content
Yeah, but false content, maybe?
down. Fact checks have only
Jesus
ever been weaponized to
Christ, man.
silence content that doesn't fit mainstream narrative.
Okay, Adam.
Yeah.
What journalistic standards do you apply to yourself as you internalize information
Yeah.
and disseminate it to your audience?
To get to the heart of the question, I think that there is a difference in mainstream media and digital media in that authenticity sometimes means there aren't as many hoops that you have to jump through. So when I'm making a video, I am, and my team, we are the ones that fact check this video. We're the ones that make sure everything I am reporting is at least coming from something that is backed up in reality. So if I am reporting
In a mainstream media source,
Exactly.
or
So
one
it-
or two or three, or
So I rely on mainstream media a lot for this. So if the Washington Post is on the ground reporting
Wow. Not real.
something, I think that my standard is
Bias towards they should have a bias towards truth, the bias towards the system,
I'll use the Washington Post
bias towards
reporting.
the
I'm not
systems to keep their line of work alive as well. Yeah, true. The Zob Zappers rise up. Hell yeah, Mitchell Blackmore. Rise up, Zob Zappers.
use a random person on the ground on Twitter who is reporting this.
You'll take a accredited journalist with a mainstream publication over a YouTuber who's on the ground, and an independent journalist on the ground in Minneapolis.
We trust both, but the independent journalist on the ground in Minneapolis needs to be backed up by some sort of credible information or source.
What is a world without fact-checking?
I think that we are rapidly moving to a media environment where AI is going to be so prevalent on the internet, it's going to be hard to fact check some of this in real time. I'm sure everyone's family members has fallen for some sort of AI video, and you're the one that has to tell your mom or your grandma, hey, that cat didn't actually save that other cat out of the lake or whatever, right? So I think a media, that one didn't happen. I think the media environment without fact checking just turns into throwing mud at the wall and everybody trying to push a completely dishonest narrative with no agreed upon agreed upon truth that we can all at least arrive at. Like, we are now in a post-factual reality where we can't even agree on fundamental things like, did this person win this election? Is COVID real? Is this real?
Pretty much there, I feel. Yeah, pretty much. A little bit. Yeah, kinda. It's not good.
So it just really bothers me when, I don't know, people are in high positions of power and spreading lies and aren't getting fact checked.
Okay, I want to go to how you both define yourselves.
I wonder who he's talking about there. I wonder.
Adam, you don't consider yourself a journalist. I would characterize you. You tell me. I mean, you're a content creator who offers political commentary and analysis. Is that fair?
Yep, I like to debate, I like to commentate over the news, and I don't say I'm like an unbiased person on the ground reporting the truth. I generally say I am just out here to push my beliefs.
Natalie, you define yourself as a journalist. You have a White House
On is the right word? Yeah, that makes sense.
press pass, as we all know.
Seems reasonable.
But you have said your assignment, right, your beat in a way, is, quote, covering the opposition forces to Donald Trump. And you have said that we are the enforcers of the MAGA agenda. So, take on your critics who would say, that's just communications for the administration. That's not journalism. How do you define yourself?
I think anybody who would say that we are sycophants or, regime
We're not sycophants. We're not
puppets
I swear.
for President Trump, I think has probably never watched about 5 minutes of War Room. I think that War Room strategy...
But that's what you said, though. That was your definition of yourself.
No, we for MAGA...
But you said
that's important, because I think what you're seeing is MAGA be diluted in a way. It's not being true to what President Trump ran on, whether you see that with mass deportations and immigration, you see it with the trade deals, you see it with the foreign policy. So we hold them accountable to what actually putting America first is. And I think, first and foremost, where I view War Room's role in the White House media landscape.
Yeah, these people.
And secondly, I also think, sort of related,
happen to these people. I think something's gotta go on. If you don't understand the etymology of the word pundit does, just stood up and got more confused after the fact. Let's look it up. Where's that come from? Pundit. Definition. An expert in a particular subject or field is frequently called on to give opinions about it to the public. Variant spelling of pandit. What's pandit? A Hindu scholar learned in Sanskrit and Hindu philosophy and religion, typically also practicing Buddhism. I assume that's just a separate definition. The Wikipedia tells us origins. The term originates from. Oh no, it does literally come from the Sanskrit term pandit, knowledge owner or learned man, for someone who's erudite in various subjects and considers ceremonies, offers counsel to the king. At least in the early 19th century, pundit of the Supreme Court in colonial India was an officer of the judiciary who would advise British judges on questions of Hindu law. Huh. Interesting. So just somebody started it, just caught on, I guess. What a strange thing.
I think the mass protest movements that you have seen against the Trump administration.
Oh my god, Tabby Dank. True. It's me right now, learning about pundit.
We liken it.
Like, how did we get pundit in U.S. politics from that? Yeah, I don't know. Who the fuck knows? Somebody used it and just stuck, probably. No.
To a color revolution framework. I think a lot of people who were involved in sort of the regime change stuff in foreign countries, particularly in Eastern Europe, all the sort of democracy scholars have really sort of used those tactics here at home. It's why they depict President Trump as an autocrat. It's why they depict him in those sort of coded terms so they can use those similar tactics. And we have always covered, I think, that the left-wing protest
Not him,
movement
though.
really
He would never
the
depict
funding,
himself as
try
an
to
autocrat,
understand what
right?
they're animated by ideologically, what their drivers are, and I think that's a unique thing about War Room. So we're not running cover for the administration by covering that. It's what our audience is just actually interested in.
I want to do.
So, what she's saying is, the audience is a cult, so that's why it looks like they're a cult, but they're not a cult. It's just that everyone in their audience is a cult, so, kind of just looks that way, That's what she's trying to say.
Just a little bit more of just the mechanics of how you both do what you do. She's actually going for sort of mobilization of individuals. What is that? Is that your goal? I sense your goal is
It's
a little
twofold.
different.
I think I like to message for the Democratic Party, not directly, but I want to push it in the direction that I want it to see. The Democratic Party, and young people in this room can likely relate, has been too risk-averse and too finger-waggy over and over. We have candidates that are running that won't even go on mainstream podcasts because they're a little bit too nervous to misstep. Kamala Harris only had 107 days to run her campaign, but she was not getting in these spaces that she needed to get in. Trump would go on anyone's podcast as long as they had just a tiny little microphone to stick in his face. Literally, he would go on any podcast. What I want to do is return to a Democratic Party that is not so risk-averse, that is more authentic, and that can speak to the average American without always being so condescending.
Okay, so but on the policy, where is that going to come down? Because there's a real tug of war between the Mamdanis, not stylistically, actually on the substance of the policy, between the AOC, Bernie Sanders, Zora Mamdani wing of the party, and the sort of mainstream liberal Democrats, more moderate Democrats. Like, do Democrats need to take clear stances like abolishing ICE, taxing the rich, implementing universal health care, cutting ties with Israel? Like, is that the direction the party needs to go? I mean, those are clear
Depends
stances, but that's a very different vision than the moderate Democratic stances.
Well, I'm moderate, but I also think that populism can fit into that, talking to the average person from a moderate point of view. So I don't want to tax all billionaires out of existence. I'm not Bernie Sanders, but I want to reform the tax code in such a way that the 150 loopholes for billionaires to be able to make a bunch of money are maybe more rational. Maybe we tone down the loopholes so the richest of the rich aren't getting these massive tax breaks while the working class people are getting cuts to their Medicaid or their SNAP. And it's not like we want to tax billionaires even more. It's not like I want to increase the wealth tax. No, I just want to make sure that it's a fair and equitable system.
You alluded to a wedge on the right that I want to ask you about, because if you see your role as holding the Trump administration accountable for the America First agenda,
Holding accountable.
in November, President Trump had a really public falling out with Marjorie Taylor Greene, who criticized President Trump over his handling of the Epstein files, foreign interventions, failing to extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies, and ultimately she said, you know, I am America First, not mad.
What's your fave tie knot? I don't know, the regular one?
She feels, perhaps
What's your
like you or
favorite tie
not,
knot?
she
Should I
feels
try
that
Noah?
the Trump administration has abandoned some of its America First policies. Is she right?
I think it's too soon to tell, and I think that to answer that question
Ooh, what do you mean you don't know? I don't know, man. The normal one?
definitively now is to imply that politics is stagnant and it can't be in flux. Like, there are issues where...
But is she onto something? I mean, it does sound like you agree that
And
I know
for
the
people who
name.
watch
Should I?
But
Should I
I
know the
think where
name?
people maybe misunderstand, where maybe I would...
The full Windsor. This is, Windsor tie. Nah. Half Windsor, double Windsor, triple Windsor. Is there a difference between which one's the full Windsor? The triple? I know to do a half Windsor. I need to watch a YouTube video every time I run it. Yeah, I don't fucking. I leave that shit tied and then I fucking put it back on. Like, I don't know. What the full Monty? Full Monty tie knot? I don't know if that's a real thing. I think you made that up. Windsor and double Windsor are the same. Okay, double Windsor tie knot. Yeah, I think the half Windsor is the one that I know. What's the difference? They look similar here. That was a joke. Oh, you were joking. Gotcha, Cryptic. Silly. Half Windsor ain't it? Explain, Luxor. Explain. The full clip on. Hell yeah, Island Lad. Island Lad knows ball. Just use a clip on. Shrimple as. Where'd that come from, Luxor? Do you like see Adam Mogler's tie and wanted to complain or something? Look at Adam's tie. He's got the hat and looks all skinny and missing some form. Oh, okay, let's see.
With what Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying, that I think to just capitulate and say it's over is to give up when the Trump administration has shown that they are receptive to the sort of grassroots, their base, calling them out. And I think that people who just want to throw in the towel, that's not the American fighting spirit. I don't think that that's what composes the people who make up the War Room audience. They're willing to make phone calls. They're willing to get involved.
I think when you say you're putting America first, what I'm actually hearing is you're trying to pull the Republican Party in a more radical direction. Putting America first is allowing...
You can call it radical. She would call it populist.
Well, populist, but not populist. Because
yeah,
the majority of Americans...
But wait, why did she say that? But she would be wrong, and he would be right. So what? Okay, let's see. Look at Adam's tie. He's got the half. Looks all skinny and missing some form. Yeah, I could see that. I can agree. Does look a little skinny and missing some form. Lopsided. Yeah. I see it. You make a good point, Lexer.
Think that legal immigration is something that is okay because it benefits the United States. Republicans view immigrants in a fundamentally different way than they view everybody else. You guys view immigrants as net drains on the society, but that is not borne out. You can look at anybody as a drain on the society.
No hate, but it ain't for me. I mean, no, I see what you mean. I agree with you, Lexer. Maybe I'll have to try that sometime.
Take up housing, you take up electricity, you take up space on the road. So when you say that immigrants take up housing and immigrants take up electricity, it's sort of a myopic view, and they take up jobs, or because they create. Immigrants also create a lot for this country.
True.
I mean, immigrants are net taxpayers.
He's right.
For a personal anecdote, my grandpa moved
usual.
here from Syria in the late 90s, and you could argue, yeah, he was taking up space. Why was this person from Syria taking up space in the United States? We shouldn't have let him here. But my grandpa has built a business that now employs dozens of people, that feeds dozens of families. I grew up in Indiana, where my community was full of a lot of Muslims who became heart doctors, or surgeons, or very productive members of society. 30% of working physicians in this country are immigrants, are people who are coming here to help Americans. That is putting
W. Mogler.
America first. How are physicians that are immigrants helping Americans not putting America first?
Hold on, don't take that. I'm gonna ask a question. What I would like you to respond to.
Haha, fucking cucking the content. Oh my god,
Is there a
this
positive story about
interviewer, bro. Don't answer the question. Ugh.
immigrants who aspire to live the American dream,
It's
that
not
are
a
living in a
debate,
way
it's a
that isn't
discussion
undermining the
type
American
shit,
experience
ugh.
for Americans already here? Is that, I mean, do you subscribe to that notion in any way? Or do you reject it?
Of course.
Adam is no simple white man. He's of Syrian descent. Is that true? I believe it, because sometimes some Middle Eastern people look white as hell. But is that true? Huh. Good shit. Respect.
Of course there are some, but the way that you're seeing legal immigration happen now is just historically, empirically, extremely different from the waves that you saw before. You used to have an on period of people
Oh my god, this shit, bro.
coming in and an off period, and the people who would come in would assimilate, much like your grandfather. They would.
Much like he just mentioned his granddad came from Syria to America. Oh, I might have missed it. The gaming too serious. She's just retarded.
Would actually, I think, enjoy American culture because you had to.
Sorry to be the breaker of bad news. Immigrants do enjoy American culture. Miss White Girl.
Now, I think you have this sort of weird, perverse left-wing ideology where we're told that assimilation is racist, and I don't think
Nobody has ever said that.
that works. And I think when you talk about the immigration issue, it's like we have to do this performative, to some extent, ritual where we have to praise immigrants as like the greatest thing that has ever happened in this country. I'm not bashing or nagging all immigrants, but I also think we can appreciate the contributions that Americans have made to this country. The American people have been abused by the legal immigration system. And sure, are there some immigrants that are good? Yes, but there's also a lot of
Jesus, okay.
problems with our immigration system. It's a
Some
problem
good,
of scale.
yeah.
It's too many people.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to show you guys a clip of William F. Buckley Jr. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah.
Okay, so William F. Buckley Jr. hosted a program called Firing Line for 33 years. In 1979,
Right.
he actually tackled the question of immigration. How many people should be allowed in, and from where? Listen to what he says in this exchange with the first Latino commissioner of the Immigration and Naturalization Service. Take a look.
Well, I did. Yeah, Lexer. She's retarded.
Well, is the question purely a numerical question, or is it one that has also to do with ethnic balance?
I think it has to do with the whole vision of the country.
If my memory is correct, it was only about 13 or 14 years ago that we officially renounced the preference that had previously been written into the law for two groups. Number one, Western Europeans. Number two, residents of this hemisphere. Is that correct?
Yeah, we've gradually moved toward a non-racial type policy.
Okay, so he's saying we have gradually in our immigration policy moved towards a non-racial
Wow.
policy. There is a sense that sort of implicitly we are moving towards a racial policy for immigration under this administration. The criticism is that the Trump administration wants a whiter America. Is that fair?
No, couldn't be.
That's absolutely absurd.
That's so absurd. The guy who ran on a Muslim ban? No, that's absurd. The guy who talks about Latinos the way that, yeah, no, not that guy. Not that guy.
The
Couldn't
idea
be.
of populism,
That's absurd.
economic nationalism, is maximizing the value of what it
Retard.
means to be an American citizen. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what
I mean, you kind of do.
Your ethnicity is.
No.
I don't care about any of that. I care that first and foremost, you are an American citizen. The American people, my warm audience, they don't care about immigration because of race. They care about
Yeah, they don't. They definitely don't. Yeah, the American people. Yeah, no, none of these American people actually care about your race or your ethnic identity. Definitely not. That's definitely not a
because
thing.
of American identity, of which
my
we are all
God,
Americans,
bro.
I assume, in here.
Just own it. Say some people. Yeah, some people they're racist. Like, hello.
And that the idea that our government should not be making our lives more difficult.
Adam, do you want to?
I disagree entirely. This administration is absolutely looking at immigration through a racial lens. You can look at the temporary protected status they have removed from many groups, all
Yes,
minority groups. You
true.
can look at the refugee status
Venezuelans, Cubans, Haitians. Yeah,
they are allowing from South Africa. They are banning countries from coming in.
yeah.
People
South African, specifically white people from South Africa.
from countries that are black or that look a certain way, but white refugees are the only ones that are being allowed to come in. Stephen Miller's guidance of this immigration policy is absolutely racial.
We have to get to student questions.
Okay.
Okay, I can't tell if that was the edit or if that's just how it was, but Jesus.
Olivia Anstat, freshman.
Trump is racist. The guy who posted AI slop depicting Obama as an ape is racist? No. Not that guy. You mean the guy who... Dude, that was a staffer. Don't worry about the fact that Trump explicitly confirmed that he told the staffer to post it and that they posted it. Don't look at that, but it was a staffer, dude. Can you really blame him?
And political science major. So what's your question?
Thank you for having me. So I think we can all agree that social media.
And
Wait,
political science major. So what's your question?
Thank you for having me. So I think we can all agree that social media is inherently biased towards extremists and very controversial people, seeing as their content invokes emotion and therefore they attract a much larger audience. And that being said, how do we now as a society recenter our popular media around truth, diversity, and good intent in this age that is so fueled by bias and prejudice?
It actually already is. You just think that because we're extreme that we're not telling the truth, but we tell it how it is.
That's a really good question.
Take it.
I don't have the exact answer. I mean, that's a really good question, but I know exactly what you were talking about. The algorithms currently incentivize and promote the most outrageous content. I think this gives us a warped perception of each other.
Zippy, you should watch the Wick panel Marlowe and Nimble were on today. Oh, is that a thing? Maybe we'll check it out after this. Don't worry, they also discriminate against Ukrainian refugees. Trump's so racist that even Ukrainians are white enough, Drew. A bunch of streamers, who's she talking about here? No. Couldn't be Destiny. Couldn't be.
And I think it, quite frankly, allows extremists to control the media message, and it elects extremists. We are currently living in an environment where the social media incentivization of radicalization is beginning to translate into our electeds being more radical because they're using social media, therefore they're giving more and more radical takes, and they're elected.
What do you think about the algorithms and their ability to potentially throttle or incentivize certain actors?
Well, I think you gotta differentiate it between pre-Elon purchasing Twitter and post.
Definitely.
And I think that a lot of this stuff started in 2017 after President Trump won, where you saw a lot of the elites, Republican and Democrat. It's no secret that the Republican.
The elites. Schizo. Oh my god, bro.
The establishment did not want him to win. I think start to be very fearful of free speech
God, I
on
killed
the
these guys in
internet.
2
And
hits.
after that, that was the advent of what we call the censorship industrial complex, where you saw you popping up, I mean, almost overnight, of this whole entire grant-making industry
Real.
to
Holy
universities,
fuck.
to NGOs, to the sort of idea of media.
She's so right, actually. She's so right. Can I get a true? Can I get a she's right? Holy fuck.
Literacy, where they were funding studies not just to censor misinformation, but these very radical ideas of pre-bunking and debunking misinformation around
Pre-bunking.
topics that we
Hell
all in this
yeah.
room would not agree on are actually
Pre-bunking sounds
misinformation.
base as
And that
fuck,
stuff was
holy
leveraged
shit.
to, I don't know, censor the sitting president of the United States and rip him off of every social media network ever, even probably.
Oh my god, why did that happen, by the way? Was that because of misinformation? Or was that because of maybe another thing that happened right before he got removed off social media? I hope she tells me.
Uber Eats. So that was the culmination.
Didn't work, did it, though?
Well, but this is the point, because the
But here's the point, though.
censorship is not actually of falsehoods. It's censorship of ideas that
Trump wasn't banned for misinformation. He was banned for fucking January 6th.
threaten the power of the current ruling.
Decent extreme is inspiring real life violence. See the soy boys getting to scuff at the unfuck America today. I saw that. I mean, the guy got pushed. It wasn't the guy's fault, but that was very retarded. I don't know why they had pushed him. Pretty retarded.
Elite, the regime, whether or not they think their ideas are true or not, it doesn't matter. They use censorship as a tool of political power.
Just because you think it's true doesn't mean it is true, but okay. I don't know what point you were making.
Okay. Morgan Mighty, class of 2027, what is your question?
Thank you. So I wanted to ask, how should digital influencers be held accountable, given that they often fail to disclose biases, while their content also operates within social media algorithms that subtly recommend content that potentially sway users toward particular political affiliations or trains of thought without their knowledge?
It's hard. That's the problem with digital media, is that it's decentralized. Anybody can post anything with any lies at any moment, and it can be boosted in the algorithm. So how do you hold people like that accountable? I guess through tension with people who disagree with them. Like, for example, if I see someone spreading BS in my Twitter algorithm, I quote tweet.
Doesn't real fight. The cops broke it up real quick, and they both got arrested. Oh, they both got arrested? Based, I guess. I mean, I imagine it's just. I don't imagine anybody's gonna press charges or anything, so it's not really gonna matter. But what's funny? What was funny though? So there's that.
Them, and I make sure that I push back and hold them accountable.
When it comes to, I've heard you talk about sort of your POV and bias, and you're very clear that you have a point of view, you have your own bias, and your position is it's your responsibility to reveal that bias, and the audience then gets to decide what to do with that. Is that a fair characterization of how you would take on that question?
100%. I mean, I don't think I'm unique. I think everybody has a bias, right? And
Oh my god, everyone has a bias. She's so right. Bro, these MAGA people, they got some real big political insights, I think.
think that bias can be shown in ways, honestly, beyond just the actual coverage of stories. It's the
God, their bias can appear in multiple ways.
issues that people choose to cover or not to cover, right? I think this idea of holding people accountable and like always
You'll combat, no charges. Yeah, true.
having to outsource what you have within yourself to do. You know how you hold people accountable? If they're lying, don't consume or share their stuff.
Oh, just don't share it, guys. If you see somebody lie, just ignore it. Just ignore the lie. Duh. The fuck?
Don't reward them for their lies.
That's my point. You don't have to feed the beast.
Just don't.
Yeah. We're coming up on the 250th anniversary of this country. And I think there's like this question about what is it going to mean to be an American into the next century? So I just want to put that question to both of you as we approach our 250th anniversary. You take it first, Natalie.
I think it means to understand and appreciate our founding for what it was, how just amazing and unique and novel, and in a time period where the ideas that they were advancing were so radical, but how we have just come to feel
You don't give a fuck, bro.
them as second nature. I think that is what it means to be an American. If you go back to those founding documents and the rich, raw, and vigorous debate that they had, I think you can find answers to a lot of questions.
Yeah, and those don't go. I don't agree with you, but okay.
That we're having now, not just textually, but the spirit of I believe in something, you believe in something, you believe in something, my audience believes in something, that's why they make their phone calls. It's worth fighting for. We probably shouldn't have won the Revolutionary War, but somehow by the grace of God we did, and I think that's what it's about.
Adam?
I agree with.
What the fuck did she? Okay, this is just like it's retardation. I mean, like she said nothing. She didn't say anything there. The founding fathers, they really believed in debate. Teehee. Like, bro, they do not agree with you. They don't agree with you, bro.
With a lot of that, I think that the founding of this country was amazing. Of course, it's amazing, genuinely. I think the debates that you can read at some of the conventions are very, very interesting, of course. When I think of American values in a present-day setting, I think of things like democracy or human dignity or peaceful transfer of power or strength and decency on the global stage. I view America as a leader, a leader of things on the global stage. My fear is a lot of that is being stripped away. So when I think of American values, I think of decency, democracy, peaceful transfer of power. I don't see those being represented by our leadership right now.
Adam Mockler, Natalie, thank you for joining me on Firing Line, and best of luck to you as we watch your careers moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
That's it.
Firing Line with Margaret Hoover is made possible in part by...
They didn't even debate. There wasn't okay, let's have a few minutes of back and forth. Oh my god, bro. Bitch just got to yap. Alright, I guess. Wow. What's next? What's next? Probably gonna end stream in a bit. I'm a little tired. TBH. Should we watch next? I don't want to watch this one because it's like 40 minutes. It'll take a while. Could be this one. I feel like it's not actually that interesting. Interview protected her from being mauled into oblivion. Exactly, Islanat. Exactly. This major update at U.S. Supreme Court. What is a major update?
This is Democracy Watch. Mark, we have a breaking update now at the U.S. Supreme Court, and it just so happens that you yourself are at the center of this storm.
Oh my
Can you
God,
explain
he
what
was
just
there.
happened?
Yeah, so recall we sued the state of New York for drawing a map that discriminated against minority voters in New York City, specifically on Staten Island, and we won. You know, people thought that we had no chance of winning that case. Instead, we won, and now Republicans are in full-scale panic mode, and they have gone straight to the U.S. Supreme Court, not the courts in New York, but straight to the U.S. Supreme Court to try to block this victory, to try to keep in place an illegal map to protect their Republican seat in Staten Island. But let me tell you something, Brian, I don't think this is going to work.
So, can you talk about what other cases, what other rulings from the U.S. Supreme Court might tell us about the likelihood that the Supreme Court intervenes here on behalf of, I think it's Representative Nicole Maliotakis?
Look, I think the Supreme Court's not going to take this case for a couple of reasons. First of all, this was a challenge to the map under New York state law. In other words, our argument was that the map that...
He ran to the Supreme Court. They ran true cryptic. If I encounter anything, it's that you will know when somebody's running. You called it now. I think you're right. It's a good call. They're definitely running.
That was drawn by the Independent Redistricting Commission in New York violated New York's Voting Rights Act. So not the Federal Voting Rights Act, but New York Voting Rights Act. So let's just start with the fact that the U.S. Supreme Court doesn't interpret state law.
Guards are being
so they have to find a
railed.
federal
Holy
constitutional law.
shit.
And look, the Republicans are doing the best they can to try to make that argument, but I think that that's one reason why the Supreme Court won't take this case. But the second thing, Brian, I mean, this just illustrates the flat-out panic and terror they are going on in right now as Republicans in the state of New York as they are watching this seat slip out of their hands. They skipped the rest of the state court system, right? I mean, like, we won in trial court. There is an intermediate court in New York. There's a high court in New York. Now, they tried to jump the intermediate court and go straight to the high court and the highest court, which confusingly is called the Court of Appeals in New York. And they said, no, you have to go through the intermediate court. There must be something about this intermediate court that Republicans in New York know that they are worried about, because they keep trying to figure out any way not to go through the normal progression. And so going straight from a trial court on a question of state law in New York to the U.S. Supreme Court on an emergency basis, if that isn't the definition of desperation, I don't know what it is. And I just don't think this Supreme Court, as we sit here in the middle of February, is going to want to jump in with 2 feet into something that is half-baked or even quarter-baked involving New York state law. So I think they're going to tell the Republicans from New York, go back, litigate this up through the normal process, and then if you want to ring us up, then come back.
Right, which of course is even less likely because then you get closer and closer to the election. Purcell kicks in, where you don't want to interfere with an election as you're right up on the eve of it, and so this thing is pretty much DOA at that point.
And that's what, of course, why the Republicans are panicked, right? They are in this, don't go back.
They haven't got time.
Because they're going to lose this seat, right? As the ruling currently came out, you know, if minority voters have their rights respected, Republicans are going to lose this seat, and they are trying to figure out how to beat the clock. That, as you point out, the Purcell Doctrine and other things are in the way of. Now, Brian, I do have to say that if you subscribe to Democracy Docket, you know this, but there's another docket on the block.
Oh my God, another one.
Well, before you do, I just want to note, I have been speaking to governors across the country about the need to take an aggressive posture to fight what Republicans are doing on the redistricting front. We've had some governors who've done it. We've had plenty of governors who haven't yet stepped up. And I think that in this era where we are desperately looking for fighters, the fact that you have even stepped in and made sure that you brought this case where there will be another seat for Democrats out of New York because of your litigation is a testament to the fact that you are stepping up and filling the void even where Democratic governors aren't stepping up and meeting this moment with the urgency that it deserves. And so a step that everybody out here, a small step that we can all take to show some support for the work that Mark and his team are doing is to sign up for Democracy Docket, which is the news outlet Mark founded to focus on everything voting and elections. I'm going to put that link on this screen and in the post description. But Mark, as you were saying, that is not the only docket on the docket right now. What just happened here?
Yeah, I have to say, I don't know whether to be greatly flattered or really annoyed, but the New York Times just announced that they are releasing The Docket, a weekly newsletter about law and the courts. And they argue that, it's written by someone who's been a practicing lawyer for 14 years and is going to be giving people updates about what is happening to voting in elections in court. And Brian, I just have to say,
they're stealing his
that's what Democracy
flow.
Docket does. I started in 2020 to do exactly this,
my God.
and I've been practicing 30
Actually
years in this
stealing
area.
his
So
fucking
I
idea.
do hope
Unbelievable.
that everyone can keep straight the difference between Democracy Docket and subscribe to that, and the New York Times' new newsletter called The Docket. And I'm fine with people subscribing to that as well, but don't fall for imitators. There's only one original Democracy Docket.
Well, and I think also in large part the benefit of subscribing to Democracy Docket is you are an antidote to, frankly, the impotency and fecklessness of legacy media that has failed to meet the moment and has gotten us into this mess because of both sidesism or kowtowing to Republicans or access journalism, whatever it may be, failing to hold these people properly to account, or even just frankly acting as stenographers for a corrupt administration and legitimizing what they do and what they say. And to have somebody like you and to have a team like you have actually stepping up and not tinkering around the edges, not kind of doing the both sidesism so that you can stay in the good graces of Republicans, but telling it straight and fighting for democracy. I think all of that should be applauded. That's what's missing in this media environment. And so again, highly recommend to support the work that Mark does and not allow others in a completely different ecosystem to co-opt that good work.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, Brian, I'm waiting for them to unleash and announce their new video offering, the Brad Timothy Crone show, right? I mean, Brad will keep you up to date on what is happening, and he'll have interviews, and he'll have commentary, and Brad will do a great job. So
yeah, we'll have Ryan Taylor crowing. Yeah, that's right. So
It's coming.
All right. Well,
He
look,
is ready.
back to this issue of the Supreme Court hearing this case about New York. It sounds to me like this is generally DOA, but how worried should we be that this is still going to rear its head ahead of 2026?
Yeah, so one of the things I think is really important, Brian, is that we make sure that we run through the case, right? So one of the things that I give, frankly, the governor of California and everyone involved in the California initiative is that they ran through the case, right? They came up with an idea, and then they did all of the various steps necessary to actually have a new map for 2026. And we have done an important piece of this in New York, but there still needs to be a new map, right? And so we need that process to go forward. And yes, I don't think the Supreme Court's going to get in the way, but we need that process to go forward. And the same in Virginia, right? Like, where there has been real progress made towards a new map, but that also now needs to go before the people of Virginia, and people need to vote for it, and then that has to get implemented. So yes, I don't think that the Supreme Court is going to be the roadblock in New York, but you mentioned the Purcell Doctrine, and it's getting late. And that's not to say it's too late. It's not too late, and Purcell doesn't apply to state legislatures, so Virginia's not going to run into a Purcell problem. But I do want to make sure that we had a lot of momentum, going around this redistricting stuff, beating the Republicans. And I want to make sure that people don't tune out of that and move on to other things, and that people continue. If you live in New York, and you've got, elected officials at the state level, like, keep them focused on this. If you live in Virginia, keep focusing on this. I live in Virginia, and I talk about it a lot, because we need to make sure that we get these things not just through the courts or not just through the early phases, but actually to the point where we have maps in place in time for 2026.
And finally, to that end, what does it look like in terms of the still unresolved maps as we head toward midterms right now? We've spoken at length about Texas, about California, Missouri, North Carolina, Ohio.
All the
on
maps
the
will go for
Democratic side, as I mentioned,
Democrats.
California.
Everyone,
We also have Virginia
I
working its way
believe.
through this process right now. Utah, as well. There was an
Hey, they're
district added
believers
for the
out there.
Democrats there. Are there any other states that we've yet to see any movement from that we expect to see movement from?
Look, I think the big ones right now are Florida for the Republicans. And we've mentioned Virginia
Yeah, that's
for
a
the
big
Democrats.
one.
Like, New York will be great, and
God, I
Utah will be
hope
great.
not.
That's netting 2. We talked about those the other states, but I think that when you boil it down, I think that whether the mid-cycle redistricting wars wound up benefiting Democrats or Republicans. By the way, the very fact that we're even having this conversation, that it's an open question of whether it will benefit the Democrats or Republicans, is pretty extraordinary. But the answer to that is going to rest really, I think, on two sets of variables. Number one is Florida and Virginia, right? Like, how is Virginia, really a +4
Virginia
that
will
gets
do
done? Is
Yep, it's
Florida
gonna get done.
a
I believe in
-3?
Virginia.
Is it a -4?
Will be the
They don't get
second
it done in
Florida
time?
aware. God, Cryptic, don't say that. Jesus Christ. Florida is not the greatest right now. It's okay though. I believe in Florida. Okay, we will go blue. Trust in the plan. again. Hold on. My bad. Okay.
I'm like, what happens there? I think that's like.
Or by the way, do they try to do an R+3 or R+4 map, and it's a dummy mander because we've seen such huge swings among Latino populations.
So this is the other
Florida man, please save us. I don't know if I can save you, man. I don't know if I can do it.
question, right? So that the first question is that just like
here in
what
Florida.
do they get through the bus? The second question is how these districts perform. And I mean, I think you'd agree with me.
We'll do our best.
If you had only Texas and California, you're feeling pretty good as a Democrat. Right? Like you're feeling really good about that +5 in California, and the Republicans are not feeling very good about their +5 in Texas. Like the truth is, I'd be surprised if that doesn't overall net at least one Democratic seat. Like if you just take those two states, and then like I live in Virginia, I know something about it. That will be a performing map for Democrats in 2026. Like you can have all kinds of debates about what it does over time, but in 2026, it will be it's drawn to be a 10-1 map. It'll be a 10-1 map. Is the North Carolina map really a -1 seat?
Destroying the demon rats. Exactly.
I don't know. Like, that first district that Don Davis holds, that they targeted, in a good year for Democrats, that could still perform as a Democrat. Like, that may not perform. And then you're exactly right. Republicans are going to have to make some big decisions in Florida. Like, it's not it is not a simple question for Republicans about what they do now in a state like Florida, because if they stretch for 4, they are definitely going to expose some of their incumbents. If they stretch for 3, they may still.
Oh my God! If they stretch, if it backfires on them, oh my God, bro, the blue wave will be glorious.
By the way, expose some of their incumbents. So, like how that plays out, I think that those, though, are the two sets of questions that are the reason why everyone needs to be subscribed to this channel, right? Because we're going to be, over the next 6 months, coming back to both the legal question, but also this question of, like, how does this actually likely shake out for 2026? And there's no better place to get that analysis day in, day out, not just from me and Brian, but from Brian and Glenn, who does a great job on courts issues as well. Brian's commentary videos. He's got some kick-ass interviews. I mean, he gets some of the best. I'll tell you, as someone who does podcast interviews myself and talks to a lot of people who does, no one gets better guests than Brian, and nobody does better interviewing with them than Brian. So make sure you're subscribed to this channel and hit the bell to make sure you are alerted when there's new content, because honestly, Brian also turns these videos around really fast, and so the new content really matters.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm going to put the link to the channel right here on the screen. And of course, as we've mentioned, very important to subscribe to Democracy Docket. I'm going to put that link on the screen as well, so please make sure if you're not yet subscribed to go ahead and subscribe. I'm Brian Teller Cohen.
I'm Mark Elias.
This is Democracy Watch.
Alright, watch one more vid. This will be the last Hades run, and then I'll end the stream. What do we got? Adam gets in heated MAGA debate over Bad Bunny. Oh boy.
A few months ago,
we love to glaze. We love the glaze. Okay, let's watch this. Adam Mogler
said that Rob Reiner died of Trump derangement syndrome. Can you point to me any Democrat that has done something as divisive as either of those things I pointed out 15 years apart, the birtherism or the Rob Reiner comment? Has Biden or Obama or any Democrat in power done anything like that, or are you the one gaslighting?
No, I point to several Democrat congressmen and women who have said equally gross things regarding the sexual abuse of certain members over on the right. I could point, of course, to...
Was Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show anti-American? Well, you should watch until the end, because this debate gets increasingly heated, and tomorrow we have a part 2
The Bunny has been bad? I didn't know that.
coming out about Trump's economy that is even more heated. So make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe to the Adam Mocker feed for many more debates coming out very soon. Thank you all. Yeah, I think that Bad Bunny is a patriotic American. I thought the halftime show was rather impressive, and it was centered around unity rather than divisiveness. The banner behind him said, "Love is stronger than hate," or something to that effect. And for that, conservatives treated him viciously. People from Donald Trump said this was a slap in the face to America. People were calling for his deportation. Jake Paul and a bunch of other people called him a fake American, which none of this even makes sense. Where are you going to deport him to? Puerto Rico? He's a fake American because he's from Puerto Rico. So, of course, I'm not going to pin all of these beliefs on Tony. That wouldn't be fair at all.
Bro, how are people this retarded? Like, it's actually so sad that people are actually so retarded. Has to say that type of shit. It's really fucking... I don't even know. It's just upsetting. It really is.
But there were definitely some reactions that were hyper-racialized. Like, they were very clearly mad at one thing, and it wasn't that Bad Bunny vaguely criticized ICE at the Grammys. I mean, the anti-ICE activism that people are really, really mad about, Bad Bunny said, "We are not savages, we are not animals, we are humans, and we are Americans." So Bad Bunny had overall a rather unifying message. When he said "God bless" during the Super Bowl halftime show, he didn't say "God bless Latin America," "God bless other countries." He said "God bless America." It seems like overall he wanted to push a unifying message, and conservatives took that to tear him down and divide us even more. If you didn't like the halftime show, that's fine. I mean, like, my grandpa sometimes, he thought it was cool, but he's sometimes like, I don't really fully understand what's going on here. That's fine if you don't like the halftime show. But I think the vitriol that we saw coming out of...
They were just complaining about Bad Bunny not singing English, but they want the FCC to look at the inappropriate lyrics. Lyrics they couldn't understand because it's not English. Yeah, they're retarded. telling us now for the first time.
The right was next level. I'm not going to claim the halftime show is super pro-America, as Tony said. I don't think the halftime show has to be super pro-America, but I think all things considered,
would it
him
be?
saying "God bless America," him
Whatever
speaking
the
out
fuck
against ICE at the Grammy.
performer wants it to be, I guess.
This is about as American as apple pie. I mean, criticizing the government in America, very American in my opinion. So,
Tony, I'm guessing you see that slightly differently.
Yeah, I do, because what follows after God Bless America, which again, the one Spanish phrase in the show, not even, Dios bendiga America, he then followed by listing not the United States of America, or again saying, hey, you know what, I'm,
Oh my god, is he, what the fuck is wrong with him?
on this, but I still love America. American flag's kind of a Charlie Puth at the beginning. Can we agree the national anthem at the beginning was just incredible?
of course, yeah, he's like auto-tune. He's like an auto-tune human being. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a guy with perfect pitch. And a jazz musician. I love watching any talk he gives ever. It's just like, I go glass-eyed. It's incredible. Regarding Bad Bunny, though, he's followed God Bless America by then listing a bunch of countries that aren't America. Basically, it's the North and South
They're
America.
in America, you retard. Oh my god, bro. Americans never beating the don't know geography allegations, bro. It's just can't do it. They don't know.
What he's trying to suggest is that we're all Americans. And that's not what the Super Bowl is about. That's not what it's supposed
That's not what he said. He simply did not say that. He simply did not say that.
to be. It's not a pan-American competition sport. I mean, to be completely honest, given the cultural history of it, it would be more appropriate for something like that at the World Series. And I understand the cultural backlash to that because it's performative. Not because it's bad to suggest that it's, an amazing thing that we've created in the Western Hemisphere, but more so to say, hey, I'm going to get out here and be performative, and I'm going to throw some jabs, and then what you get is a bunch of gaslighting from both sides. For example, some of the stuff that came out from the left, some that came out from the right that hated it, right? I think you cited, Jake Paul, slit my wrist, but also some of the other folks on the other side of the right who were like, well, John Kasich, well, actually, I thought it was a, what do you say, home run, grand slam. It sounded like he was trying to make up a Denny's breakfast special. It was just awkward all around, and Super Bowl's just become a gaslighting festival anymore.
Do you think you think acknowledging Latin American identity or Latin American history is inherently anti-American? Because I feel like these two things.
No.
So honestly, yeah, I don't get what the problem is. He waved the American
it.
flag. He said "God bless America." I mean, Trump has been arguing for the past few months this like Don Rowe doctrine that the Western Hemisphere is essentially
Under the fatherhood of America's.
That America is essentially the father of the Western Hemisphere.
Sure.
So for then Bad Bunny to invoke the Western Hemisphere is anti-American?
No, I'm not saying that, but I do have a question, if I may. ¿Por qué no estamos teniendo esta conversación en español?
Oh my god.
No, I can't.
Well, because I only minored in Tony in Spanish, and it's been a couple years.
So,
but I would prefer not to.
Did you ask about the conversation in Espanol, though?
The reason that we are not currently having this conversation in Spanish is because the audience that we will be releasing this particular panel to, the vast majority of them speak English. And the same with the NFL.
I'm sorry. Percent of Spanish speakers in U.S. 13 to 14% speak Spanish. Okay, like the second largest Spanish-speaking population, like.
NFL. Again, notice that I said that this would have been perhaps more appropriate given the cultural history and participation of other countries in the World Series. But instead it's at the NFL, which is the very Americana cultural festival point. It's a very American, United States of American sporting event. I'm not saying it's
Lots
evil
of
or
Americans
I'm just
speak
saying it's how to
Spanish,
place it
then.
performative with some clear undertones of what was trying to be accomplished.
What a
It doesn't
fucking
suit the venue.
joke.
So is there a
disagree.
problem? Do you have? Sorry, Tony. Do you have a problem with him singing in Spanish at the Super Bowl?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What I'm saying is, I think that the audience choice is weird.
No,
Why choose
I
to sing
don't.
in
I
only
don't have a
Spanish
problem with
except
that,
for the
actually,
words,
but I'm gonna
God
keep
bless
complaining
America at
about
the
it.
Super Bowl for the halftime show. What's
Because
the
his
point in
songs are
doing so?
predominantly in Spanish.
Why do you say
the
predominantly?
The official language of Puerto Rico is both English and Spanish. Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States, so he's representing Puerto Rico by speaking the language that his songs are written in. He's a Puerto Rican artist, and I guess the idea that him speaking Spanish during this halftime show was some intentional dig or some anti-American dig, even though he very specifically said "God bless America" in English, I just don't.
And then followed it up with a list of countries to identify what he meant by America.
Cause it's oh my god.
Did you take that as divisive or unifying? I think that.
Why does he think South America is called America? Like I like people actually like I thought it was a meme fucking Twitter again. Like, what does he think South America and North America refers to? It's because they're both, when you combine them, it's America. It's the north and south parts of America. Like what? It's so strange.
I took that to mean that he believes the word America doesn't mean the United States as it's culturally perceived here in the United States of America.
Was he holding a
He was
football with an
making it
American
clear.
flag?
Again, I'm saying that he listed a lot of countries alongside it as a broader cultural statement. And again, as far as the Spanish, I have no issue with him speaking or singing in Spanish. As someone who is, again, fluent in Spanish and lived in and out of Hispanic households, working alongside phenomenally, what I consider a lot of traditionally conservative families that have been beyond beneficial for this country in family policy and work ethic, for example, that I was able to learn in Honduran and Nicaraguan households. But specifically in the Super Bowl, I am only questioning when you do an entire Super Bowl in the language that is opposite of the core language of 90.
Opposite? What does it mean to the language to be opposite of the
9%
core
of the
language? What? Conservative commentators all starting when they all look like the same, different version of Mount Wangxia. This is just retarded. Like,
Now that is I don't actually have the data in front of me. It says 99%.
20% of Americans are Latino, I think. I mean,
You do realize that 20% doesn't all speak Spanish, right?
No, this is the real population in America. I mean,
You do realize that 20% isn't all like Spanish first language.
That's what I'm saying.
40 to 50 million people who speak Spanish in
Yeah, I'm saying representation is not some crazy dig at English. It's just representing a real portion of Americans.
If he would have sang a song or two in Spanish, or had, again, I thought the wedding was beautiful and phenomenal. That kind of stuff, the imagery was.
His songs are in Spanish, bro. He's fucking. He speaks Spanish. His English isn't that good. Like what? Like, hello.
Wonderful. But to do the entire show in only Spanish, except for the phrase "God bless America," then followed by a bunch of countries.
Because he speaks Spanish. Like,
after an entire Hispanic cultural celebration listing countries that a couple of which have nothing to do with Hispanic culture or imposition at all.
But they're in America. You fucking read.
Came off as
so you're getting it. So it doesn't have to do with Hispanic culture. It's just the geographical. What America is.
It's very strange and again forced. I'm not assigning cultural moral good or evil here. I'm saying that it was clearly, and there was an element of this that was very politically performative, especially given the conditions of the songs. Does he? I'm not a Bad Bunny aficionado.
Bad Bunny does not have full-length English songs. He'll occasionally use English tongue, but he mainly performs in Spanish. So it sounds like Bad Bunny.
So when I learned Bad Bunny was working at Walmart or something in 2016, yeah, he blew up. Just blew the fuck up. Just got some good music. I like it.
Gave a performance that aligns with the hundreds of other he's given as the largest, one of the largest artists in the world. He's probably one of the top few. So he's just giving a performance that not only represents a very real contingent of Americans, of 40 to 50 million people that speak Spanish, he also specifically said God bless America while holding a football with an American flag. And the idea that he should have, did you want him to perform like a Kid Rock song in English? He doesn't have any songs in English. He doesn't.
Well, that's not true. Again, you just said that while he does in fact use English language in many of his songs, predominantly a lot of his songs are in Spanish.
Yeah.
I'm simply making the point that if you are going to address a large audience in a halftime show towards the United States of America, that speaking in or singing in partly, just partly, in the language of the majority of the audience that you are addressing makes cultural sense in what is
yeah, but nobody cares. It's a retarded point.
essentially a cultural celebration of these United States. That's what the Super Bowl's kind of been ever since it was the reindeer, people dressed as reindeer dancing on the torn up field, you know, back in the older Super Bowl. So I guess I'm not trying to make some broad sweeping like, oh, he's deeply un-American. I'm saying he made a political point by doing this. I don't know what bragging, you know, that and bragging about.
So it's a political point to perform his songs as they were written. I don't understand. Like,
you know, he does choose the songs that he performs, right?
And he chose his 3 or 4 most popular songs across the entire globe. I don't agree with this idea that because he spoke in a way that is not, because he spoke in Spanish and that is not the predominant language of America, that somehow has friction with the culture. How many Super Bowl halftime shows have we had? Like dozens and dozens and dozens, where people give a diverse amount of performances. We've had everyone from Kendrick Lamar to Michael Jackson, who stood there for multiple minutes on stage, frozen, remember? So, I mean, the idea that because we have one Super Bowl halftime show that represents, you know, a different portion of the country and still represents our country too. Like, I'm not even going to concede that he was excluding people who speak English from this. He waved the American flag. He said, God bless America. We had American traditions being shown, like, or I guess Western traditions like marriage being shown here. It was a pretty overall unifying show. I don't know what he's mean here, but I feel it's like kind of whiny to be like, I can't believe he wouldn't speak our language, even though we don't have a national language. He was representing the way he wrote the songs.
Guys, I want to zoom out here a little bit because obviously at the end of the day, it's just Bad Bunny. Unfortunately, there's been this
Next time, let's have an instrumental artist in the lyrics and see what they complain about. True, Garsh. Holy fuck. We should do that. That'd be sick. Wait till he hears about all the times that Super Bowl has had non-American artists performing. Wait till he hears about that. Then he'll lose his mind, right?
National crash out over it from Republican members of Congress and the president, Megyn Kelly, and beyond. I wonder, though, Tony, if you are willing to acknowledge this or if you deny this. I sense, zooming out here, a broader, like, snowflake problem on the MAGA right now, right? Whether it is Bad Bunny and being outraged, whether it's demanding that people come before Congress, or whether it's, like, freaking out and retaliating against the Associated Press because they're not going to use Gulf of America. I am sensing, and I'm hearing from a lot of people, that a lot of the increasing sentiment on the right seems to be kind of reminiscent of that snowflake mentality. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think there is a portion of the right, especially kind of the more populist part of the right, that is leaning into that. There is a group, I would say, kind of more at large, that is suggesting that now that the right is in power, that it needs to play by the same rules that the left played by during the Biden administration. So, for example, the Daily Signal, which I'm the national correspondent for, was kicked out of the White House press room during the Biden administration, and this was something that we obviously tried, you know, very hard to rectify.
Oh my God, I won!
And they did the exact same thing with.
Visions Hell fighting the devil? No, I'm in Hades fighting Hades. What is it with your Western centrism?
The Associated Press that the Trump administration is doing now, which, by the way, I disagreed with. I think the Associated Press, like all.
Well, I guess Greece is the West, but same shit. You know what I mean?
other news outlets should be in the White House. Again, I also, regarding kind of the pool selection, I was happy to see Axios finally added to that pool selection instead of a bunch of publications, many of which don't service the broader, kind of country as a whole, to our earlier conversation. But regarding this idea that now everything needs to be performative, yeah, I'm really against a lot of that. This is one of the reasons why I was so much more a fan of, for example, Tom Homan, or maybe even some elements. Again, I have a couple asterisks there. With Scott Bessent, particularly Brooke Rollins, I also quite like a lot of her approaches. A lot of Secretary of State Rubio's, the disapproving, kind of disappointed dad when the nonsense arises. It's much more effective as a political tactic.
But yeah, someone brought up that there have been multiple artists not even born in the USA perform, but you've seen actual US citizens perform? Yeah, like, I'm not even gonna look at this. It's like fucking Coldplay, fucking, like, these are not they're not even Americans. Like, what? And they weren't singing about American values. Like, if you complain about this, you're just retarded. You're just retarded, and this guy's just retarded.
Biden was able to use this very effectively a couple of times. And when he did, instead of the crazy phone that certain other members of his administration would tend to pick up and use, or again, Congress with its committees on camera is just evolved into a circus from hell. Yeah, I think there is a portion of the right that's adopting to that, although I do have hopes that there is some of that is kind of on its way out. The age of influencers is starting to ebb.
Adam, your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, to be fair, we had it on our side. We had people who wanted their safe spaces. I don't fully buy into the idea that there's a parallel between the way Trump has treated the media and Biden has treated the media. I think Trump has ramped it up a few notches.
Biden derangement syndrome. True.
But
actually true.
Trump himself said, you said there's like a growing contingent of people who hopefully aren't acting in this way. Trump himself was the one that really freaked out about this on Truth Social. He said, nobody understands a word this guy's saying. The dancing is disgusting. The show is a slap in the face to our country. I think 48 hours after this, he posted a video of Obama and his wife as gorillas. I think the president has to lead in a top-down manner in order to tone down the divisiveness in this country. Could you agree with that Trump might be uniquely divisive in this moment?
Do I think that Trump is uniquely divisive? I do, given that he's a Hollywood entertainment guy who comments on Hollywood entertainment.
He's the president of the United States. Kill me.
Entertainment things. I mean, ever since he came down the golden escalator, he's been very out there and he's willing to get and throw stones.
He's a Hollywood entertainer, but he's also the president of the United States. These words mean a lot. I'm 23 years old, and I've always wanted to look to the president as someone who I can, look up to as a beacon of moral clarity. And when he's posting gorilla AI images of former presidents, he's calling for the arrest of J.B. Pritzker, which I live in the state of Illinois.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I didn't know you were in Illinois. Oh, yeah. I'm right next door to you in Indiana. I was getting ready to say, we're right next. We'll have to grab lunch sometime.
Yeah, I grew up in Valpo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Sorry, keep going. Keep debating.
Oh, no, sorry. I've
Bro. Adore me. I'm not having lunch with this guy. Holy shit.
There are a couple football games in Valpo. Great place. Anyway, aside from the Midwesterners finding each other in the middle of a debate, in this context regarding Trump, no, I understand the idea and the desire to look up to the president of the United States, absolutely. But I believe that one of the best descriptions of Trump has been he is in fact a product of the political dissociation of the time, meaning that as things continued, we had these two essential groups of the country, kind of the older guard. You could maybe equate Biden to this, maybe not on the left. On the right, you had some Republican senators and representatives that essentially would just say, let's not get hasty about anything. And they never really took an emotional stance on anything. They never were willing to call out things that, for example, we've seen AOC call out from the left side of the party, or from the right side, the many now very loud voices who have called out things that they don't appreciate on the cultural side as well as the economic side. And Trump, because so much of the aughts into the early teens were a clamping down, nothing is wrong, everything is fine, let's not get hasty, that eventually Trump, who had the platform and the performance to get out there and do things with a sledgehammer, meant that America elected the sledgehammer. And I don't always like the sledgehammer. There are times I prefer a scalpel. But to claim that this is somehow, well, Trump needs to act more presidential, sure. Do I wish the president would put the phone down? Yeah. Do I wish he'd watch videos all the way to the end? So if he just wants to post some weird election fraud video from Detroit, he posts that instead of the end.
I wish he would, but if he doesn't, I mean, can you really blame him? It's a long video, what the fuck is this? What is he saying? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Screen cap where just 1 second is the gross video autoplayed behind it. Sure, I would love that. But again, a symptom of the time that America elected a boisterous guy to knock things over because America was tired of the way that things have been done for 20, 30 years in the country. I can't change that. That's an objective reality.
I think it's almost reverse. I'm going to bring this back to Bad Bunny in just one moment. But sure, Donald Trump is, yes, a symptom of an American system that was failing the average voter. And I do agree that he did come and purge the Republican Party of neocons or people who are more risk averse. Absolutely. In fact, the Democratic Party is still very risk averse. I think the Democrats need someone who's a little bit less risk averse. But that's different than what Trump is doing. The way that Trump, you wish that he would not post gorilla videos of former presidents, but I wish that he wouldn't be posting AI images of Chicago being invaded with Black Hawk helicopters going over. I'm living and working in Chicago. I don't like to see that type of imagery. I wish he wouldn't be calling for the arrest of governors. He called Tim Walz a retard. I just don't think this is the way that you should operate as the president, and to just chalk it up as him being a little bit divisive or a little bit. So to bring us back to Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny.
He doesn't care because he thinks he is a retard. And now that's an okay thing for a president to say. Just fucking. I can't say.
At a show where the background said love is stronger than hate. That's the only thing I've written down. Just love is strong. I don't know why I wrote that
down. The Levi Jeans banner at the top of the stadium.
Sorry, what's up?
The Levi Jeans banner at the top of the stadium. Love is stronger than hate.
Love is stronger than hate. Yeah, and Donald Trump's reaction was that was a slap in the face to the country.
So this is where I would argue that a lot of that framing is a form of gaslighting. There are a lot of people in the country on both
gaslighting. Yes. King.
Besides the political aisle, who out in front, when they choose to, They will put on the face of, oh, I am a respectable politician. You see this in committee, right? Where we just saw, for example, with Pam Bondi, both sides, complete train wreck, Republicans, Democrats, Bondi, all of them acted like children. Almost every single person in that committee room acted like a child. And what's always right there at the front, this is why I point this out as gaslighting, is that once they're tired of the theatrics, what do they start doing? They take off their screaming, they've been yelling at each other, go, oh, Mr. Chairman, if we will return to Robert's Rules of Order number 542, they did not address me as the representative from the great state or wherever. That's nonsense. Either you are going to be serious, or we're going to allow the facade of the structured American politician to have a level of leniency. And again, I point that out because you can't have it where Biden is, cracking jokes about ice cream and other things like a normal person, and then turn around and then be called ridiculous, doddering old fool. No humanity, has to be stately president, and then turn around all of a sudden when he is a stately president and then criticize that as being fake. I think that there are some double standards of gaslighting. The love is hate thing or stronger than hate in this particular Super Bowl thing.
Not photo post short stack goblin. It's true.
That's gaslighting. It's that if you don't claim that this is all love and wonderful, then therefore you must be for hate.
What was hateful about it?
I don't fuss with that. Again, I'm.
It is all
very
lovely. I guess I have a question for you. I think you're the one doing the gaslighting in this moment. I guess a very simple question.
True.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course we disagree on that. But when Donald Trump entered U.S. politics, one of his mainstream entrances into U.S. politics, and I hope you guys would agree, was him claiming that President Obama wasn't born in America. That was one of his big issues in about 2011, 2012, as he was ramping up. 4 years before he ran. A few months ago, he said that Rob Reiner died of Trump derangement syndrome. Can you point to me any Democrat that has done something as divisive as either of those things I pointed out 15 years apart, the birtherism or the Rob Reiner comment? Has Biden or Obama or any Democrat in power done anything like that, or are you the one gaslighting?
No, I point to several Democrat congressmen and women who have said equally gross things regarding the sexual abuse of certain members over on the right. I could point, of course, to the mockery of, for example, the violence against Rand Paul, the tutting about that. Of course, I could point to the comments made by certain congresswomen about 9/11.
What was your first example, Tony?
Mocked Rand Paul again?
Well, hang on. Let's talk about these one at a time. Tony, what was the first thing you mentioned? Could you say specifically what you're talking about?
So specifically, over the last couple of years, there have been calls for members of Congress to, for example, denounce certain acts against, for example, federal law enforcement. And you've had individuals who have claimed, for example, like Maxine Waters, that you need to get out there and that you need to intervene with federal law enforcement. You need to get in their faces. That, again, she laughed when asked at one point about the death of an Indiana congresswoman. I remember that vividly because I knew Jackie Walorski very well. I found that to be particularly gross. As far as, again, the mocking of individuals who had been killed in the line of duty. The members of Congress, for example, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez waving off the deaths of American soldiers down at the border.
These are platitudes. When did AOC wave off the deaths? When did Democrats wave off the deaths of people who were
all right, to be clear and to be fair, I don't have a Microsoft Excel list of all of these.
I was gaslighting you about divisiveness in America, but I just gave you two good examples that we can all agree on.
You gave me two examples of the President of the United States, absolutely. And then you said, can you name any over on the left? And I listed from the top of my mind. These are things that do, in fact, come to my mind particularly.
There were platitudes. There were no real examples. Like Rand Paul. Can you go back to the Rand Paul one?
Yeah.
So Rand Paul?
Yeah, so regarding Rand Paul, so Rand Paul was attacked by a neighbor.
Yeah.
And then the Senator Tim Kaine, right? Kaine of Virginia, about a month and a half later, made a passing joke about hoping that he didn't get attacked by anybody walking out of his house. It's kind of a gross thing to say.
Yeah, I don't think that you should make jokes like that, but I think that what Trump has done, I think that that's like a grain of sand on a beach, what Tim Kaine said.
Republicans would never make a joke like that, right? They wouldn't do that, right, guys?
And what Donald Trump has done is created the whole beach. Donald Trump has a sandcastle of division that he has built about Rob Reiner to Obama being a birther and everything in between. I mean, Maxine Waters shouldn't have said get in the face of Trump supporters. Yeah, but the idea that these two are equally divisive is wild. And again, I want to keep bringing this back to the Bad Bunny show. I just think the Republicans are the ones that are acting uniquely divisive after this in a top-down way. When it was a show that was centered around unity, and Republicans are calling, not all Republicans, I'm not saying everyone's being divisive, but when Republicans are taking this divisive stance, it's a pattern that I see time and time again.
What about a Virginia Attorney General candidate saying that he would, if he was in a room with Hitler and another dictator in the Republican from the Virginia House, that he would shoot the Virginia House person twice?
I mean, it's a joke from The Office, bro. Like,
absolutely disgusting and despicable, and he has apologized. Did Trump ever apologize for Rob Reiner?
I said that he should have. I did say that he should have. I absolutely said that he should have.
Top-down leadership is just so damn weak. I mean, again, I don't mean to appeal to my age again, but this is a genuine experience that I've had. As somebody who wants to be able to look up to leaders and see somebody who I can model, I don't want to go to my class and start yelling "Quiet Piggy" at my teacher. I want someone that I can look up to and learn from. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I met President Obama a few months ago, and I learned a lot from being in that room. His presence and his ability to kind of let the conversation flow and keep track of everything. I just learned a lot from that human being. What I learned from Trump is that you should be a divisive asshole no matter what.
So again, I think that the perfuming really gross things, like when Obama lectured a bunch of black men to just suck it up and vote for a black woman because they owed it to black women to
yeah, that's what he said.
Vote for one.
Yeah,
it's kind of a disgusting
Obama
thing.
gorilla video.
You can continue to say that regarding that entire situation. The president posting the weird Michigan election fraud thing. And at the end, very clearly, because it was screen recorded, so the captions could be on the screen.
He apologized for that, like Jay Jones did?
He did. He did condemn it. He absolutely condemned it.
I don't think he
apologized.
No, he did not do that at all.
The recording very clearly said, absolutely, I condemn the racist part at the end. That's why we took it down. That wasn't supposed to be posted. It was just supposed to be that particular.
No. That's not what happened, actually.
Again, the election fraud claims from that investigation mini doc in Michigan.
I love when the president accidentally posts a racist video because he meant to post schizophrenic conspiracy.
Do you really believe? So, Tony, do you really believe that Donald Trump would never knowingly share racist imagery? I feel
You
like
wouldn't do
I feel like he would.
that.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
you can feel like you would, but in this case, like, if we're going to get real examples here, the idea that you can't have the President Trump is like equally like a big, duttering, divisive, oath, stupid, kind of drunken brawler, and also like an evil, racist, genius schemer guy. You can't have both. And that's what we were trying to do with this. Like,
Gabby,
you watch the whole video, it's clearly a screen recorded thing. At the end, it autoplays. It literally goes to the next video in the manner of that video codec, to the next video, and then it ends immediately. It doesn't even play.
I mean, but the
whole
president's
video.
responsible for what he puts out on his platform.
Absolutely is.
If
He
he
should
did
have
not
ruled
watch it to the end, that's like not worse, but differently bad.
It is differently bad. You are correct. It is differently bad. Is it worse? No, but is it differently
Guys,
bad? Yeah, absolutely.
Well, all right. I think we can put a pin in that one for now and move to another kind of zoomed out topic where I think we'll probably find some more disagreement.
Perhaps I'm pot plant.
Wow. He keeps forgetting Trump's current title, president. Yeah, because nobody gives a fuck. He's just funny. Haha, the guy from The Apprentice. You're fired. Haha. That's it. Nobody gives a fuck. It's a joke to this guy. He isn't good. He doesn't actually care. It doesn't affect him. What does he give a fuck? Okay. It's a good video. I guess. Alright, it's late. End stream. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks Flexer for the sub. Give the sub to the brother Magnus. Thanks everybody for subscribing, following. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chilling. Might stream tomorrow. Might not. Might be busy tomorrow. With it being Valentine's Day and all. Maybe Sunday? Depends. We'll see. My streams are very sporadic at the moment, as my real life schedule is just kind of all over the place right now. But yeah, thanks for everybody for hanging out, for watching. See you guys next stream. Night, y'all.